My family kicked me out. So my sister could rest. My husband filmed it. Within 48 hours they lost careers, and my grandmother's $200,000 estate. My name is Layla, and what I'm going to tell you feels weird, but I need to say it because the finale, well, let's just say karma has a way of putting things right. I was married to David for 3 years. We had been trying for a baby for 2 years, and when I finally became pregnant, we were overjoyed. My parents, Margaret and Thomas, appeared to be happy as well, or so I assumed. My younger sister Vanessa had always been the golden child. But I thought having a granddaughter would be great for everyone. The pregnancy was difficult. I acquired gestational diabetes and had to undergo a planned C-section. Our daughter Lily was born well, but the surgery left me in severe agony and unable to move. David had to return to work soon after the delivery because he had spent all of his vacation time during my difficult pregnancy, when I was on bed rest. I couldn't be alone with a newborn while recovering from major surgery, so we planned for me to remain at my parents' house. They resided in a 4-bedroom house, so I'd be staying in my old room. My parents had happily consented to this arrangement before, stating that they wished to support their first grandchild. The first red flag should have appeared when I returned home from the hospital. Instead of the warm welcome I imagined, my mother barely glanced at Lily and immediately began moaning about how the baby's wailing would disrupt her sleep. My father only groaned from his recliner and returned to watching television. But I was fatigued, in pain, and anxious for aid, so I attempted to dismiss their chilly demeanor. I spent the first night fighting to breastfeed Lily while avoiding tearing my surgery wounds. Every movement caused searing pains in my abdomen, and I could hardly stand up to change her diaper. The next morning, everything went to bad. I was in bed, attempting to get Lily to latch for her morning feeding, when my mother entered the room without knocking. She was already dressed, and she had that determined expression on her face that I had grown to fear as a child. "Layla, you need to pack your things. Vanessa's coming over with baby Caleb today, and she needs this room more than you do." I looked at her, assuming I had misheard. "What? Mom, I just had surgery yesterday. I can barely move." "You're moving fine," she said abruptly. "I've seen you walking around. Stop your pathetic whining and get out." I felt as though I had been slapped. "Mom, I can barely move. Let me at least rest so I can move properly." That is when she did something that I will never forget. She grabbed a hold of my hair and yanked it back, her face inches from mine. "You're moving fine. Now pack your bag. Stop your pathetic whining, and get out." The anguish from her grip on my hair, along with the discomfort in my abdomen from the quick movement, caused me to cry out. Lily began weeping, sensing my concern. "Margaret, please get her out of here," my father said from downstairs. "It's making me uncomfortable." I couldn't believe what I heard. This was my father. The man who would read me bedtime stories and teach me how to ride a bike. He was now unable to look at either me or his granddaughter. "You heard your father," my mother murmured, letting go of my hair. "Vanessa will be here in an hour with Caleb. He's 6 weeks old and she needs the quiet and space to recover properly." "But Mom," I replied, tears flowing down my cheeks. "I just had major surgery. Vanessa had a natural birth 6 weeks ago. I literally cannot." "I don't want to hear it," she exclaimed. "Vanessa has always been more responsible than you. She married Jason right after college, got her degree, and now she's given us a beautiful grandson. You waited until you were 26 to get married and now you're acting like you're dying from a simple procedure." The bias was not new, but the level of harshness was. I knew Vanessa was the favorite, but I never expected to be thrown out with a newborn the day after surgery. With shaky hands and tears in my eyes, I began packing Lily's belongings. Every movement was agonizing. Bending over to pick up her garments caused intense aches in my incision. I had to pause every few minutes to catch my breath. My mother stood in the doorway, arms crossed, watching me struggle and providing no assistance. "This is ridiculous," I responded, trying one more. "I'm your daughter too. I just need a few more days to heal." "Vanessa is coming with Caleb, and that's final," she stated coldly. "She called last night saying she was struggling and needed help. Unlike you, she doesn't complain about every little thing." I wanted to point out that I hadn't complained about anything, and that I'd been nothing but grateful for their alleged assistance, but I was too fatigued and in pain to dispute. As I finished packing, I heard a car enter the driveway. Vanessa had arrived. I got Lily into her car seat and gathered our belongings. Walking down the stairs was terrible. I had to grasp the railing and take each step gently, feeling my incision strain with each movement. Vanessa was in the living room, carrying her son Caleb and talking to our parents as if nothing was happening. She glanced up as I struggled down the stairs with Lily and our belongings. "Oh, good. You're leaving," she added with a happy smile. "Finally, I can have the room all to myself without your drama." I paused in my tracks. "Drama, Vanessa? I just had surgery." She rolled her eyes. "Please, you're being so dramatic about a simple C-section. I had Caleb naturally, and I'm fine. You're just milking it for attention like you always do." I stood there, clutching my wailing newborn, bags sliding off my shoulders, surgical incisions searing with anguish, and watching my entire family treat me as if I were nothing more than a nuisance. "I'm calling David," I explained quietly. "Good," my father replied without glancing up from his newspaper. "Maybe he can talk some sense into you." I stepped out into the cold morning air, Lily screaming in my arms. I called David with shaky hands. "Hey honey," he replied happily. "How's the first night going?" I broke down and told him what occurred. There was a long pause on the other end. "They did what?" His voice sounded uncomfortably quiet. "They threw us out, David. Vanessa needs the room more than me. Apparently. I'm coming to get you right now, don't move." David's automobile arrived 20 minutes later. He stepped out and discovered me sitting on the front steps, holding Lily and crying, surrounded by our hurriedly packed baggage. His expression was unlike anything I'd ever seen before. Pure anger. He approached me and gently pulled Lily out of my arms. "Are you okay? How's your incision?" "It hurts so bad," I said quietly. "I think I might have torn something when Mom grabbed my hair." David's jaw constricted. He assisted me to the car, secured Lily in her car seat, and loaded our belongings. Then he did something unexpected. He stepped directly to the front door and knocked. My mother opened it, visibly annoyed. "What do you want?" "I want to talk to you and Thomas now. We're busy with Vanessa and the baby," David repeated in a deadly calm voice. Something in his tone made her step back. David entered the living room, where my parents and Vanessa were sitting. "So," he replied calmly, "you threw out your daughter and granddaughter the day after major surgery." "Now see here, David," my father said. "No, you see here, Philip." David's voice became stronger. "Your daughter just had her abdomen cut open to bring your granddaughter into the world. She can barely walk, and you threw her out like garbage." "Vanessa needed the room more," my mother replied defensively. "Vanessa." David looked at my sister. "I had a natural birth 6 weeks ago. She's been home recovering this entire time. Layla had surgery yesterday." "It's not that big of a deal," Vanessa added, bouncing Caleb on her knee. "She's being dramatic." David did something that surprised everyone, even me. He grabbed out his phone and began recording. "I want you to say that again," he told Vanessa. "I want you to tell me exactly why you think your sister, who had major surgery yesterday, is being dramatic." "David, put that phone away," my mother demanded. I want this on record. I want everyone to see what kind of people you are." My father stood up. "You need to leave." "Oh, I'm leaving," David explained. "But first, I want to make sure we're all clear on what happened here. Margaret, you grabbed your daughter by the hair and forced her out of the house one day after she had a C-section. Philip, you couldn't even look at your own daughter or granddaughter. And Vanessa, you're gloating about getting a room while your sister is in agony." He turned the camera on himself. "This is what happened to my wife and newborn daughter today. Her own family threw them out the day after surgery because her sister wanted the room." "Turn that off," my mother shouted, reaching for her phone. David stepped back. This is going to everyone. Your friends, your church, your neighbors, your coworkers. Everyone is going to know what kind of people you really are." "You can't do that," Vanessa exclaimed, appearing terrified. "Watch me," David remarked. He was typing on his phone. "I'm posting this to Facebook right now. I'm tagging all of you, and I'm sending it to everyone I know." My mother became pale. "David, please. You don't understand." "I understand perfectly," he said. "You chose your golden child over your daughter who just had surgery. You physically assaulted her when she asked for basic human decency. And now you're going to face the consequences." He stopped typing and looked up at them. "It's done. I posted it to Facebook, Instagram, and I'm sending it to your church group, your book club, and every single person in your contacts." The place burst into turmoil. My mother began crying. My father began yelling, and Vanessa hastily attempted to seize David's phone. "You've ruined us," my mother cried. "No," David said quietly. "You ruined yourselves. I just made sure everyone knows who you really are." He stepped towards the door and then turned around. "Oh, and one more thing. Layla's inheritance from her grandmother, the $50,000 she was planning to use for Lily's college fund, she's withdrawing it all. Jason, you'll never see a penny of it." My mother's face turned white. She had counted on that money for their retirement. Grandma Rose had left it particularly for me, but it was in a trust that my parents had been administering. "She can't do that," my father responded hesitantly. "She can, and she will. I've already spoken to the lawyer. The money is Layla's, and she's old enough to claim it," David said with a frown. "Goodbye. Don't ever contact us again." He left them in amazement and returned to the car where I was waiting. "What did you do?" I said as he entered. "I made sure everyone knows what they did to you," he told me. "And I ensured that they would suffer the consequences." As we drove away, I noticed my mother standing in the doorway crying. I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. The following several hours were a haze. David took me to the hospital to have my incision examined, which was thankfully not torn but extremely stretched. We then slept at a motel for the night because I couldn't bear going home and dealing with the stairs. At the hotel, I finally had time to digest what had transpired. I sat in the restroom, looking at my reflection in the mirror. My hair was ruffled from the way my mother had snatched it. My eyes were red and puffy from crying, and I looked like I had gone through hell, which I had. Lily was sleeping soundly in her portable crib, apparently unconcerned about the turmoil surrounding her delivery. As I watched her small chest rise and fall, I felt a strong protectiveness rush over me. Nobody would ever treat her as my family had treated me. I'd make certain of that. David was on his laptop, watching the responses to his video. "Layla, you need to see this," he murmured quietly. I stepped over and stared at the screen. The video had been shared dozens of times during the first few hours, and comments were pouring in. However, not only strangers commented. People in our town, who knew my family, were shocked and disgusted. Mrs. Henderson, my former high school teacher, wrote, "I taught Layla in my English class. She was one of the kindest, most respectful students I ever had. This breaks my heart. No mother should treat her child this way, especially after surgery." David's colleague Mike had stated, "Dude, I can't believe this is your wife's family. What kind of monsters do this to their own daughter?" But the response that stung me worst came from my childhood buddy Rachel. "Layla, I'm so sorry this happened to you. I remember how your parents always favored Vanessa, but I never thought they'd stoop this low. You deserve so much better." Reading these remarks let me know that others had also seen the bias. It wasn't only in my head. Everyone around us could see the patterns of emotional abuse and neglect that I had accepted as usual growing up. Meanwhile, David's video went viral, not on the internet, but inside our neighborhood. By the evening it had been shared hundreds of times. Comments were brutal. "This is absolutely disgusting. Who throws out their daughter after surgery? I would never speak to my parents again if they did this to me. That poor girl. I can't believe her own family would do this. This is child abuse, she just had a baby." David showed me his phone. "Look at this, Layla. Your mother's friend Janet from the book club commented." I read Janet's comments. "Margaret, I am absolutely appalled by your behavior. How could you do this to your own daughter? I don't even know who you are anymore. Don't bother coming to the book club next week. You're no longer welcome." Similar comments were made by others who knew my parents. My father's golf buddy Steve had written, "Philip, this is disgusting. I thought I knew you, but apparently I was wrong. Don't expect to see me at the club anymore." The rapidity with which their social circle turned against them was stunning. Within hours, decades of friendships were shattered by a single video that simply revealed who they truly were. David's phone was constantly ringing with notifications, more shares, more comments, and more people expressing their displeasure. He showed me a screenshot from my mother's Facebook page. She shared a status update. "Please stop sharing that video. You don't know the whole story." The replies to her post were harsh. People were calling her out, expressing their anger, and demanding to know what possible reason there could be for throwing out a daughter after surgery. My Aunt Elaine, my mother's own sister, had said, "Margaret, I watched that video 3 times trying to understand how you could do this to Layla. There is no whole story that justifies this behavior. I'm ashamed to call you my sister." That comment surprised me, especially because Elaine had always been close to my mother. If she was turning against her, that indicated the harm was even worse than I had anticipated. David pointed me to another comment thread where people were criticizing my parents' history of partiality. Everyone in town seems to have known about it for years. I remember at Layla's high school graduation, her parents barely clapped for her but gave Vanessa a standing ovation when she won some minor award at the middle school ceremony the same week, Mrs. Robbins, a relative, wrote. When Layla got married, Margaret spent the whole reception talking about Vanessa's upcoming engagement instead of celebrating her older daughter, said another guest. Everyone who paid attention recognized the pattern. My parents had been emotionally abusing me for years, and the video had now revealed this to the public. But the major surprise arrived at midnight. David's phone rang, and it was Jason, Vanessa's husband. "David, I need to talk to you," Jason stated. "Can you meet me somewhere? I can't do this over the phone." We decided to meet in a 24-hour diner across town. Jason looked dreadful when he arrived, as if he had not slept in days. He ordered coffee and sat across from us in the booth. "I need to tell you something," he said. "Vanessa didn't just decide to come over yesterday, she planned this." My blood became chilly. "What do you mean?" "She's been jealous of you throughout your entire pregnancy," Jason revealed. "She kept saying how you were getting all the attention, how your parents were more excited about Lily than they were about Caleb. When he was born, she was furious about it." He took a sip of coffee before continuing. "When you went into labor, she called your parents and told them she was struggling with postpartum depression and needed their help. She specifically asked them to give her your room. I felt like I had been hit in the stomach. She planned this? She planned to kick me out after surgery?" Jason nodded pathetically. "She said it would teach you a lesson about not being the center of attention. She thought it would be funny to see you have to leave." David's face was growing crimson with rage. "She thought it would be funny to force a woman who just had surgery out of her parents' house." "I'm very sorry," Jason remarked. "I had no idea how bad it was until I saw that video. When I got home and confronted her about it, she laughed. She actually laughed and said, 'You deserved it for being dramatic.' This realization altered everything. It wasn't simply favoritism or poor judgment. It was a premeditated brutality. Me sister had purposefully caused me humiliation and pain." "There's more," Jason replied quietly. "She's been having an affair with her boss at the marketing firm. It started about a year ago, before Caleb was born. I found out tonight." The hits kept coming. My sister was not only harsh, she was also a cheat and a liar. "I'm filing for divorce," Jason went on, "and I'm going to make sure I get full custody of Caleb. I don't want him growing up thinking this kind of behavior is normal." We talked for another hour, with Jason explaining more about Vanessa's actions and my parents' role in the scheme. Apparently they'd all discussed it beforehand, and decided that I was too needy and needed to learn independence. With this new information, David created another video. This one was more detailed, describing the planned nature of what had occurred. He sent screenshots of texts Jason had given, which showed Vanessa talking to her friends about her intention to kick me out. The second video was far more destructive than the first. The fact that everything was premeditated made my family appear even worse. People referred to them as psychopaths, sociopaths, and worse. My parents' friends began calling them. My mother's book club expelled her. My father's golf buddies stopped speaking to him. However, it would be some time before their church took any formal action. Pastor Daniels phoned my parents. Apparently numerous congregation members were outraged after seeing the video. He wanted to meet with them and discuss their unchristian behavior. My mother called me, weeping. "Layla, please. You have to get David to take down that video. We're being destroyed." "Good," I said. "You destroyed me first. We're your parents. Parents don't throw their children out after surgery. Parents don't grab their daughter's hair and force them out of the house. You're strangers to me now." She sobbed. "Please, honey. We made a mistake. We're sorry." "Are you sorry? Or are you sorry you got caught?" There was a prolonged hush. "We're sorry we got caught," she said quietly. At least she was truthful. The true reckoning happened next. I visited the lawyer's office to claim my inheritance. Mr. Novak, the family lawyer, was appalled when he learned what had happened. "Your grandmother would be rolling in her grave," he joked. "She specifically left this money to you because she knew you'd need it someday. She never trusted your parents with money." I signed the paperwork and deposited the $50,000 to an account that my parents couldn't access. I had planned to spend the money for Lily's future, but I realized I needed to shield her from my toxic family. However, the financial damage was not the worst aspect for my parents. Social exile was destroying them. My mother was forced to resign her employment at an elementary school after parents complained about her being near children. After the video went public, the school board received dozens of calls from parents concerned about having someone who would treat their own daughter in such a horrible manner, working with their children. "How can we trust her with our kids if she can't even be kind to her own daughter?" one parent wrote to the superintendent. Dr. Lawson, the principal, had summoned my mother to his office after the video was posted. Several parents had given him printed copies of the video and comment threads requesting action. "Margaret, I'm going to be direct with you," Dr. Lawson had remarked. "The school board has decided that it's best if you resign. The community has lost faith in your character and we can't have that kind of negativity affecting our school environment." My mother attempted to explain herself, stating that the film had been taken out of context, but Dr. Lawson was not convinced. "I've watched the video multiple times, Margaret. I've read the comments from people who know your family. This isn't an isolated incident. This is a pattern of behavior, and the community has spoken." When my mother refused to resign, she was sacked after 15 years of service at the school. She was fired for actions unbecoming of an instructor. The local newspaper even covered the story. The headline stated, "Local elementary school teacher fired after video shows her abusing daughter post-surgery." The report contained quotes from parents and community people expressing their indignation. My father lost 2 significant clients for his accounting firm because they refused to cooperate with someone who would disrespect their own daughter in such a way. But the true blow came when his largest client, Shelton Manufacturing, discontinued their agreement. Mr. Shelton had been my father's client for more than a decade, accounting for approximately 40% of his business income. Mr. Shelton's daughter-in-law watched the video and was appalled. My father-in-law called me directly. David told me after chatting with someone from Shelton Manufacturing. He stated that he couldn't continue working with someone who would treat his own child in that manner. He claimed it reflected a fundamental lack of character and compassion. The Shelton Manufacturing contract was worth $80,000 per year to my father's modest accounting firm. If he lost it, he'd have to fire his single employee and risk losing his office space. But the effects continued to escalate. My parents' mortgage firm became aware of the problem after a video clip was circulated in a local Facebook group with several of their workers. The company's HR department determined that my father's public behavior reflected poorly on their corporate image, so they ended their commercial connection. My parents had been with the same mortgage provider for 20 years and were now racing to locate new financing. In the midst of all the social and professional turmoil, they faced the possibility of foreclosure. The stress was having a physical impact on both of them. My mother had stress-related eczema on her arms and face. My father began experiencing panic attacks and was hospitalized twice for what he believed to be heart attacks but turned out to be anxiety. Their marriage, which had already been weakened by years of instability, began to shatter under pressure. My mother blamed my father for not standing up for me, claiming that his lack of action made her look even worse on the video. "You just sat there like a coward," she said at him during one of their fights, which the neighbors reported hearing. "You didn't even try to stop me. Now everyone thinks we're both monsters." Meanwhile, my father blamed my mother for being overly harsh and causing the entire problem. "You're the one who grabbed her hair," he said back. "You're the one who threw out our daughter. I was just trying to stay out of it." Neither of them appeared to understand that they were both equally responsible. Neither of them had been kind or supportive when I needed it most. My mother's sister Elaine contacted and refused to invite them to her daughter's wedding, which was the final straw in their marriage. The wedding had been planned for months, and my parents had been anticipating it for more than a year. "I can't have you there, Margaret," Elaine replied. "My daughter doesn't want the drama, and frankly I'm embarrassed to be related to you right now. What you did to Layla was unforgivable." This grieved my mother because Elaine's daughter Lily, named after my daughter, was always close to her. The fact that she was being excluded from key family gatherings made her understand how badly she had ruined her reputation. Vanessa was experiencing her own troubles. Her buddies had watched the video and were shocked. Several people had commented on her behavior, calling her nasty and uncaring. Her husband Jason was humiliated and forced her to make a public apology, which she later shared on Facebook. Vanessa's struggles had only just begun. Her employer at the marketing agency, the same man with whom she was having an affair, decided to discontinue their relationship after seeing the video. He was married with children and couldn't risk being linked with someone who had such a bad public image. "I can't be seen with you anymore," he informed her. "My wife saw that video and she's furious. She knows we've been working late together and now she's suspicious. I can't afford to have my marriage scrutinized because of your family drama." Vanessa was devastated. She had planned to leave Jason for this man, believing he would divorce his wife and they would begin a new life together. Instead, he cut her off entirely and avoided her at work. The affair was revealed during Jason's divorce proceedings. His lawyer had engaged a private investigator, who quickly discovered the relationship. Vanessa's nasty actions in the video, mixed with her infidelity, made it easy for Jason to acquire all he desired throughout the divorce. The judge who heard their case had seen the video that his wife had posted on Facebook. During the custody court, he used Vanessa's behavior against me as proof of her poor character and judgment. "Mrs. Robbins," said the magistrate, "I've reviewed the evidence of your extramarital affair, but I'm equally concerned about the video that shows your treatment of your sister after she'd undergone surgery. This demonstrates a pattern of callous and cruel behavior that raises serious questions about your fitness as a parent." Vanessa lost primary custody of Caleb and was required to pay child support. She was also obliged to take parenting classes and receive anger management counseling. The judge's decision was harsh, citing her deliberate brutality and lack of empathy. Jason maintained his word. He took custody of Caleb and brought him to visit Lily on a regular basis. The kids are growing up to be buddies, which is exactly what I intended. Here's where they ended up. My mother, Margaret, lives with her sister in Arizona and works as a cashier at a grocery store. She lost all of her pals and had to start anew. She delivers cards to Lily, which I discard unopened. My father, Thomas, lives in a one-bedroom apartment across town. His accounting business failed, and he now works for someone else. He's got a drinking problem and looks dreadful whenever I see him around town. Vanessa is living in a trailer park with her new lover, who she met at a bar. She lost custody of Caleb and only sees him every other weekend. She works at a fast food restaurant and appears unhappy whenever I see her. Jason remarried Hannah, a great woman who loves Caleb like her own kid. They're thrilled, and Caleb is doing well. David and I are as strong as ever. What he did that day demonstrated what genuine love looks like. He did not only console me, he fought for me. He made sure my family experienced the consequences of their conduct. Lily has been the light of our lives. She will never meet her grandparents or aunt, but she is surrounded by affection from David's family and our chosen circle of friends. The footage is still available on social media. David refuses to take it down, and I really don't want him to. It acts as a remembrance of what occurred, and a message to others about who my family truly is. People frequently ask if I feel horrible about what happened to my parents and Vanessa. Actually, I don't. They made their decisions, and they must deal with the consequences. They may have shown kindness, support, and love. Instead, they chose harshness. The best aspect is that Lily will grow up knowing she is loved and safe. She will never know the partiality and conditional affection I grew up with. She will never question whether she is good enough or if her parents truly adore her. David and I are preparing a move to another state. We want a new start away from the turmoil and harmful people. We plan to utilize a portion of my inheritance as a down payment on a home where Lily may grow up happy and secure. Sometimes I wonder what might have occurred if my parents had been nicer to me that day. We may have had a relationship if they had helped me recuperate and given their granddaughter a warm welcome. Lily might have had grandparents who loved her. But that is not what they selected. They chose Vanessa above me, as they always have. They chose harshness over kindness. And now they're dealing with the ramifications of those decisions. I last saw my mother at the grocery shop where she works. She appeared older, sadder, and totally broken. She burst into tears when she saw me and Lily together. "Please," she whispered. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." I gazed at her for a long time. "I know you are. But sorry doesn't undo what you did. Sorry doesn't give me back the first week of my daughter's life. Sorry doesn't heal the trauma you caused." She nodded as tears streamed down her cheeks. "I know. I miss you. I miss Lily." "Then you should have thought of that before you threw us out," I informed you. "You made your choice. Now live with it." I walked away, never looking back. The truth is, I am happier than I have ever been. I am free from toxic people who never truly loved me. I have a spouse who would do anything for me, and a kid who will grow up knowing she is loved. But the path to this bliss was not easy. For weeks following the incident, I felt guilty and doubted myself. Despite everything they'd done to me, they remained my family, and seeing them suffer was terrible. I began visiting Dr. Keller, a therapist who specializes in family trauma. She helped me understand that what I was going through was common for abuse survivors. "You've been conditioned to prioritize their needs over yours," she remarked during one of our sessions. "You've been taught that you're responsible for their emotions and reactions. But Layla, you are not responsible for the consequences of their actions." Therapy helped me grasp the full extent of the emotional trauma I had experienced as a child. The favoritism was more than just a preference. It was a purposeful pattern of making me feel inferior to Vanessa. The incessant criticism, the disregard of my accomplishments, and the way they gaslighted me when I complained about their unjust treatment were all part of a system designed to keep me submissive and yearning for their acceptance. Children who grow up with conditional love often become adults who tolerate unacceptable behavior, a doctor told me. They'll endure abuse because they're still hoping to finally earn the love they never received. The treatment helped me understand that cutting off touch with my family was not cruel. It was vital for my mental health and to keep Lily from repeating the same destructive practices. Meanwhile, the aftermath of the video continued to reverberate through our community. My parents' church has finally taken official action. Initially, Pastor Daniels attempted to mediate, trying to facilitate healing and forgiveness. However, when the congregation learned about Vanessa's deliberate plan and more stories arose about my parents' abuse of me over the years, church leadership decided they needed to intervene. "We believe in forgiveness," Pastor Daniels told my parents at a meeting, which Jason later informed me about. "But we also believe in accountability. Your actions have caused scandal in our community and have damaged the witness of our church." My parents were requested to stand down from all leadership posts. My mother had been the women's ministry treasurer, and my father had served as a deacon. Both roles were secretly shifted to different individuals. The church did not officially declare its decision, but in a tiny community, word spreads quickly. Everyone soon realized that my parents had been demoted inside their own congregation. They were getting increasingly uncomfortable with their social seclusion. My mother, who had always been quite involved in community activities, found herself ostracized from everything. The Women's Auxiliary refused to let her help with the yearly charity drive. The garden club barred her from attending their monthly meetings. Even the grocery store cashiers treated her harshly. My father fared no better. His weekly poker session was dissolved because the other players felt uncomfortable with him. His membership in the country club was quietly terminated after other members complained. Not only had he lost his business clients, but also his whole social network. The ultimate blow was delivered when my maternal grandma, Rose, who lived in a nursing home 2 hours away, saw the tape. Someone had shown it to her on their phone, and she was terrified. Grandma Rose had always been the family matriarch, and her opinion was extremely valuable. My mother burst into tears when she called and told her she was embarrassed and ashamed of her behavior. "I raised you better than this, Margaret," Grandmother Rose had stated. "I thought I taught you to be kind and compassionate. What you did to Layla is unforgivable. That poor girl had just had surgery, and you threw her out like garbage." Grandma Rose, aged 89, made the tough decision to amend her will. She had planned to leave her house to my mother, but after watching the film, she contacted her lawyer and changed the beneficiary to me. "Layla has shown more strength and grace in this situation than the rest of you combined," she told her attorney. "She deserves to inherit the house, not the daughter who treated her so cruelly." When my mother learned about the change, she was upset. The house was worth more than $200,000, and she had planned on using the inheritance to fund her retirement. My mother, Margaret, is now living with her sister in Arizona, and works as a cashier at a grocery store. She lost all of her friends and was forced to start again at the age of 58. She delivers cards to Lily, which I discard unopened. However, living with her sister has not provided the refuge she had hoped for. Elaine, while offering her a place to stay, made it apparent that she disapproved of my mother's behavior. The two sisters, who were formerly close, now hardly talk. "I can't look at you the same way," Elaine told her. "Every time I see you, I think about what you did to Layla. How could you be so cruel to your own child?" My mother's new work earns the minimum wage, which is significantly lower than her previous salary as a teacher. Her co-workers are largely teenagers and young adults who are unaware of her history, but she lives in continual worry that someone would recognize her from the video. The stress has had a serious impact on her health. She has developed excessive blood pressure and chronic sleeplessness. She has aged drastically, appearing more like 70 than 58. My father, Thomas, lives in a one-bedroom apartment across town. His accounting business failed, and he now works for someone else. He's got a drinking problem and looks dreadful whenever I see him around town. The apartment he is renting is in a dilapidated building on the wrong side of town. It's a long cry from the 4-bedroom home he'd had for 20 years. The walls are thin, and he can hear his neighbors fighting at any hour. He complained to the landlord several times, but nothing was done. His new employment is as a bookkeeper at a tiny auto parts company. His compensation is less than half of what he used to earn, and he receives no benefits. At 62, he is too old to simply find a new job, especially given his ruined reputation. The drinking began as a method to relieve the pain of losing everything. However, it has become a severe concern. He's been arrested twice for drunk driving, and his license is suspended. He now has to take the bus to work, which is humiliating for someone who formerly drove a fancy car. Vanessa is living in a trailer park with her new lover, who she met at a bar. She lost custody of Caleb and only sees him every other weekend. She works at a fast food restaurant and appears unhappy whenever I see her. The trailer park is a harsh environment, with drug traffickers and domestic violence calls being prevalent. Derek, Vanessa's new lover, is unemployed with a criminal past. He's emotionally and physically abusive, but Vanessa believes she has no other options. Her employment at the fast food restaurant was the only one she could find after being sacked from the marketing agency. Her manager had watched the video and determined that her actions rendered her inappropriate for a client-facing role. "We can't have someone with your reputation representing our company," her husband said. "What you did to your sister shows a complete lack of professionalism and basic human decency." Vanessa's visitation with Caleb is under supervision due to concerns about her living circumstances and emotional instability. She is required to meet with him at a family visitation facility, where social workers will oversee their interactions. The supervised visits are devastating for her. Caleb, who is now a newborn, scarcely recognizes her. When she tries to hold him, he cries and begs for Jason, who arrives to pick him up. The social worker's findings state that Vanessa appears to be more concerned with her own emotional needs than with what is best for her baby. Jason remarried Hannah, a great woman who loves Caleb like her own kid. They're thrilled and Caleb is doing well. Hannah is a pediatric nurse with experience working with children from tough situations. She's been patient and compassionate with Caleb as he adjusts to his new existence. She's also been supportive of Jason's decision to retain communication with me, recognizing that Caleb deserves to know his aunt and cousin. Jason, Hannah, Caleb and Lily frequently enjoy family dinners together. It's the kind of caring, supporting family setting I never had growing up, and it makes me so thankful for the family I've chosen. David and I are as strong as ever. What he did that day demonstrated what genuine love looks like. He did not only console me, he fought for me. He made sure my family experienced the consequences of their conduct. My sister borrowed $2,500. My dad took $800, and my family flew first class on my dime. So I booked a solo trip and locked them out forever. They used me like an ATM for 6 years. Until I sent an invoice, froze the credit cards, and got my dad fired by forwarding evidence to his HR. This is how story started. My mother claimed that flights cost $1,200 each. If you can't afford it, remain behind. I nodded, and then received an alarm. My credit card had been charged for 4 business class tickets, not mine. I accessed my app, selected Dispute All, and then locked the account. At check-in, my sister texted, "Why is nothing paid for?" I responded, "What you said?" I stayed behind and planned my own vacation. My father showed up to my residence, I didn't. Flights cost $1,200 apiece. My mother advised, "If you cannot afford it, stay behind." I didn't dispute. I just nodded and smiled as if it didn't hurt, as if it wasn't the 6th time in 2 years that my own family had told me I didn't belong unless I paid for the opportunity. She said it casually over speakerphone while I was still in my scrubs and sweating from a 12-hour shift at the hospital. I had just finished working back-to-back night shifts to cover rent and pay off my college loans. My mother, father, sister Lyra, and her husband Cassian were all planning to visit Maui. A week-long family trip, including business class. "You know we deserve this," she added. "It's been a rough year for everyone." Everyone. As if I wasn't a part of that everyone. As if I hadn't loaned Lyra $2,500 when Cassian lost his sales job, or covered Dad's medical deductible when his blood pressure spiked and he refused to go to urgent care due to the cost. I told her that was all right, and I would stay behind. Then I returned to cleaning up vomit from an intoxicated patient who had attempted to assault me after I suggested he lie down. However, subsequently, I received a ping on my phone and a notice from my credit card app for business class tickets purchased for $1,200 apiece. My card does not bear my name. I opened the application. Passengers' names: Caleb B., Cassian B., and Sandra M. Mom: William M. Dad: no Silas M., no me. I gazed at the computer for a full minute, my fingers chilly and my heart racing. They had used my credit card again without asking or alerting me, assuming I would cover it like I always did. I didn't even end up with a window seat. I typed "Dispute All." I then locked the account. An hour later, when I was brushing my teeth, my phone chimed again. Lyra texted, "Why is nothing paid for?" "We're at check-in." I wiped the phone from my mouth, read the message, and took a deep breath. Then I replied back. "What you said." I stayed behind. Which I did. I remained behind, but not in the way they expected. I organized my own getaway somewhere warmer and quieter. No family, no duties, and no guilt. My phone vibrated again. A call from Dad. I didn't respond. He showed up at my apartment and knocked as if he owned it. I did not open the door. It did not start with the tickets. That was just the cherry on top of a pile of broken boundaries and overdraft fines. It all started when I was 22, and Lyra took my credit card to buy a dress for her engagement celebration. A $600 temporary emergency because you work in healthcare and don't even dress up, so it's not like you'll notice. She promised to reimburse me by the end of the month. She never did. Then Dad asked me to co-sign a loan so they could rebuild their kitchen. It's not even for us, he explained. It's for resale value. One day you'll inherit it. Spoiler alert. The house was refinanced again, with the proceeds used to pay off Cassian's second bankrupt enterprise. I was working 50-plus hour weeks and barely keeping my head above water, and somehow, I was still the family ATM, the trustworthy one, the nurse with a solid job, the unmarried one with no children, the one who should contribute in since family members help one other. However, it was never mutual. When I caught pneumonia from working during flu season and requested Mom to bring me soup, she answered, "I can't, sweetheart. I promised Lyra I'd watch the kids while she gets her nails done. You understand?" I always did. Cassian damaged my automobile, which I let him borrow while it was in the shop, and my insurance price doubled. He didn't apologize, just shrugged and said, "That's what insurance is for, right?" They drained me slowly, drip by drip, until I couldn't feel anything, like boiling a frog. I was a frog. That was the actual fuse. I was wrapping up a night shift when Lyra wrote, "Can you move your payday up? Mom wants to book hotels, and we're short." What payday? I was not even invited. I said, "Short for what?" She responded with a gif of hula dancers and the text, "Family trip desert island hibiscus woman dancing light skin tone." I contacted Mom. "Lyra said you needed help with hotels," I inquired, attempting to remain neutral. "Oh sweetie, don't worry about that," she said. "Everything's already booked. We just needed a bit of a cushion to upgrade to business class. You know how bad Cassian's knees are." "Excuse me. You're asking me to pay for an upgrade on a trip I'm not even taking?" Silence. Then the tone changed. "Look, Silas, if you wanted to come, you could have said something. But the flights are $1,200 each. If you can't afford that, then maybe it's best you sit this one out. No hard feelings." She stated it as if I were a burden, as if my entire presence was an impediment to their luxury schedule. I did not argue. Just hung up softly, calm, and numb. Then came the notice. My card was charged for 4 business class tickets. That's when the numbness ended. All the sacrifices. I've canceled vacations, skipped dinners, and worked multiple shifts. For what? So they could have a good time while I rationed my medications and ate instant ramen 3 times per week. I sat at my desk, staring at a spreadsheet with my finances. I had $327 in checking and $14,200 in student loans. My automobile was 6 years old, with 119,000 miles on it. I hadn't gone on a vacation since college. Meanwhile, Cassian drank first-class champagne with my name on the receipt. And Lyra had the audacity to text me from the check-in line, "Why is nothing paid for?" The mask fell. That is who they were. They remained true to themselves. I wasn't family. I was a funder. I merely replied, "What you said?" I remained behind. Then I did something I never imagined I would do. I created a travel website and booked my own trip. Nothing special, but it was mine. Everything is mine. There are no commitments or guilt. Dad popped up at my door like a scene out of a Netflix thriller. Still wearing his Hawaiian shirt, he stood outside my apartment with a look that alternated between confusion, rage, and entitlement. He knocked. I did not move. He knocked again, but louder this time. "Silas, open the door. We need to talk." I did not. He stayed there for 7 minutes. I timed it. Then he departed. That evening I received a voicemail from Mom. "You really hurt your father today. He flew back early to speak to you. After everything we've done for you." Done for me. I've saved the message. Not for memories, but for evidence. I was finished gaslighting myself. Lyra tried phoning 5 times before sending this gem. Grow up. You can't punish the whole family over one misunderstanding. Misunderstanding. They used, robbed and mocked me. And now that I had said no, I was the bad person. But I wasn't angry anymore. I was finished. They mistook stillness for submission, believing that if they banged hard enough and long enough, I'd give in as usual. But I'd changed. Dad returned again, this time with Mom. Same location, same apartment hallway, and tired manipulation on their faces. I did not open the door. Lyra began sending texts that night. You are being completely unfair. We needed that upgrade. Derek's knees swell when he flies economy. Do you realize what you've done? We couldn't even check in. Had to downgrade and pay out of pocket. Do you know how embarrassing that was? Family is supposed to be there for each other. Family. That word again. I typed, deleted, and retyped. Then I sent a single message. You mean like when I paid your rent for 8 months and you forgot to pay me back? No response. Mom then called repeatedly, everything is neglected. Then a text from Dad. You need to grow up and stop playing victim. We had no choice. We didn't know the card would decline. You were supposed to help. You always do. I lingered at the last line for a long time. You were supposed to help. As if I were a family employee whose absence was considered workplace malfeasance. I didn't respond. But I wasn't finished because they assumed this was just a phase, a tantrum, and I'd get over it, as I always did. This time though, things were different. This time, I was enraged rather than emotionally affected. Logistically, financially, and physically drained from years of maintaining a system in which I was the silent donor. So I did something they never expected. I sat down to write an invoice. $600. Outfit for Lyra's engagement. Never reimbursed. $2,500, loan to Lyra and Cassian while he was unemployed. $800, Dad's MRI deductible, paid out of pocket. Mom forgot to Venmo back $420 in groceries. $1,200 for 4 business class tickets to Hawaii, charged without approval. $150. Interest and fees on late credit payment due to the above. Total outstanding balance is $7,870. Then I sent an email to the family group chat. Subject: Request for reimbursement of unlawful payments and prior support. Body: Please notice the accompanying breakdown of financial help I have provided over the last 24 months, in accordance with your philosophy that family should be there for one another. Beginning July 1st, I will no longer be subsidizing family expenses. Full refund is expected within 30 business days. Following that, I will file formal reports with my credit provider alleging improper use of my financial information. Moving forward, no additional financial interaction is permitted. The group conversation exploded. Lyra's reaction: Are you serious? What kind of person sends an invoice to their own family? Mom says, This is hurtful and unnecessary, Silas. You're making things worse. Your dad. We raised you better than this. That line. That was the last spark. Because the truth was, they did not raise me. I supported myself through extra shifts, unpaid debts, and acting as the default safety net for everyone else's recklessness. I responded with the facts. You didn't raise me. I was overwhelmed by the imbalance in our relationship and I let you, but not anymore. Then I blocked Lyra. I left Dad and Mom unlocked out of pure curiosity about how far the delusion could go. It turned out to be really deep. They appeared in person again. I noticed them via the peephole. Dad seemed rigid. Mom held some papers, most likely receipts and excuses. I opened the door. You need to talk to us. Mom continued, her voice shaking. Number: I really don't, I said gently. Dad stepped forward. This stunt is freezing the credit, the invoice. It's spiteful, Silas. We're your family, and you used my name and card to buy flights. I snapped. That's not family. That was a serious breach of trust. We didn't think it'd be an issue, Mom sobbed. You always help because you trained me to. I cut in. Since I was 22, you've treated me like a walking debit card. I helped because I was taught that saying no meant I was a bad son. But I'm done being a good son. Don't talk to your mother like that, Dad snapped. Number: Don't talk to me like I owe you something, I shot back. I worked double shifts while Lyra and Cassian used my money to sip mimosas at LAX. I helped pay your hospital bills while you called me selfish behind my back. He stepped forward. You think this makes you strong? Turning your back on family? No, I replied. But it makes me free. I shut the door in their faces. Not slammed. Just forceful, deliberate, and final. They did not knock again. Later Mom left me a voicemail. A silent, defeated voice. I don't know who you are anymore. And for the first time in my life, I smiled when I heard those words because I wasn't the person they used to walk all over. After I shut the door in my father's face, the silence that followed was not serene. It was surgical, precise, and final. There will be no more hammering on the door or guilt-laced voicemails, only a vacuum where their control once existed. Nothing. They all remained silent. I almost expected the cold shoulder to endure indefinitely. Then followed the panic. My bank sent me an email informing me that someone had attempted to use my old frozen credit card to rent a car in Maui. Cassian, of course. I called the fraud department. They confirmed that the attempted charge matched his identification information. "Would you like to press charges?" they inquired. I hadn't yet, but I had them capture everything and email the report to me. Subject line: evidence in case things escalate. Later that night, I got an SMS from an unknown number. "We're stranded. Are you seriously going to leave your family like this after all we've done for you, Lyra?" I stared at it for a long time. What had they done for me, besides take? I didn't respond. Instead, I screenshotted it and saved it in a new folder I'd created called Family Patterns I Won't Repeat. Then something genuinely odd occurred. Marissa sent me a note on Facebook. Yes, that's Marissa, Cassian's ex-wife. We hadn't spoken for years. According to what I've heard, she relocated across the nation following their divorce to start again. She was always smarter than him. A lawyer with bite, ambition, and an aversion to foolishness. Her message was simple. "Hey Silas, sorry for popping in like this, but you might want to talk." I answered, "This about Cassian?" She sent a thumbs up and a PDF. I hesitated for a second before opening it. The contents include screenshots, money transfers, and a paper trail. Cassian had apparently been rerouting monies from a shared family account that mom and dad had granted him access to for emergencies. He gambled again. This time, we're using cryptocurrency. High risk, lower IQ. It became worse. The screenshots included emails from mom pleading with Marissa not to report anything. Another from dad. "We'll fix this. Silas doesn't have to know." They knew. They all knew. They kept it from me because they were afraid I would cut them off before I actually did. The aircraft tickets just scratched the surface. They had been sucking me dry to conceal Cassian's financial problems. I called Marissa immediately. She picked up on the second ring. "I wasn't sure you'd even want to talk," she told me. "But I couldn't keep watching from the sidelines. I know how they used to treat you." I wondered why she was sending this now. She paused. "Because you're finally doing what I should have done years ago, walking away. And I thought you deserved to know the truth." That night I printed every sheet, transfer, and shady message. I stapled them together and brought them to my desk. And for the first time in years, I slept with the window open, a breeze in my room, and no fear buzzing through my chest. The next morning I received a call from an unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. It was Dad. His voice was low, not harsh and strained. "Silas. I don't know what to say. Your mother is sick with stress. Lyra's not eating. Cassian. He's not doing well. We made mistakes, sure, but you've made your point. I'm asking man to man. Can we please talk?" I scribbled one words and sent it back. "You're not entitled to grace that you never earned." I sent the invoice again, this time including Marissa's files as an annex for further evidence. I copied Aunt Linda and, just for fun, sent a redacted copy to Dad's employer's HR department anonymously. I received an alert. Dad was no longer listed on the company website. I did not celebrate. I was not angry, just separated. Meanwhile, my life blossomed. I registered in actual in-person therapy sessions. Every weekend I went on lengthy walks, got a bike, and tried new recipes. I started seeing a woman I met in the hospital cafeteria. Leah was quiet, interested, and had no idea who my family was. So I told her. About them. About me. About the version of myself that I was ultimately creating without them. Leah and I sat on my couch one day, discussing a local hiking trail. She pointed to one and grinned. "Want to go next weekend?" And for the first time in years, I didn't have to check my bank balance. I just replied, "Yes." I received one last letter, handwritten. There's no return address. I recognize the penmanship. Lyra. 5 pages of trickery disguised as an apology. "We all make mistakes. You took it too far. Mom cries every day. You've turned your back on blood." Finally, she wrote, "We're family. Nothing changes that." And I understood she was correct. We are family. That's what makes it even worse. Strangers didn't steal from me. The folks who knew me best did it anyway. I folded the letter, placed it on top of Marissa's file, and locked both of them in a drawer. I received a birthday card in the mail the night before. Simple. No signature. Only 3 words. I see you. It was from Marissa, and I grinned because someone finally did. It has been months since I shut the door on my past. It has been months since I stopped apologizing for saying no. Months passed until I looked in the mirror and saw a man entire and unbound, not a walking pocketbook. I used to believe that closure meant they would come to me, heads bowed, tears in their eyes, offering apologies and salvation. However, it was not their responsibility to bring closure. That was mine. I rushed into my mother. It was a total accident. I was grabbing my morning espresso at a quiet downtown cafe, still half sleepy, earbuds in, hoodie up, when I heard her voice. Silas. I looked up and there she was, smaller than I had remembered. Not simply in stature, but also in presence. As if time had diminished her. She smiled as if nothing had occurred, as if we hadn't gone to battle over silence and invoices. Can we sit? We sat. She spoke first, rambling. There are no actual apologies, only memory revisions. We were just trying to hold things together. We didn't realize how much you were carrying. If we could go back, maybe we'd do some things differently. There was no mention of ownership, the fraud, or Cassian's attempt to use my credit again. There is no accountability for Lyra's poison. It was just an emotional dress rehearsal, and I was meant to play the forgiving son. But I was finished with that role. Then came the inevitable. Do you hate us now? I did not flinch. No, I replied. But I don't owe you anything anymore. She blinked. But we're family. That's not an argument, I said. That's an excuse. She dug into her purse and gave me an envelope. Standing up, she expressed her hope that I will return to them eventually. I informed her quietly. I already did. To tell you I'm not coming back. After she departed, I opened the envelope. A check, $7,870. There was no note or apology, just quiet and a dollar sign. I did not cash it. Not immediately. I tacked it to the wall over my work, beside a quote that transformed my life. You do not have to set yourself on fire to keep others warm. Lyra never responded directly again. But Marissa did. After sharing Derek's financial lies with me, she forwarded the identical packet of evidence to a family law attorney and the state fraud office. Cassian is currently under investigation for wire fraud and theft of family funds, because guess what? He did not simply use my card. He also took from mom and dad's retirement account. People have once said to me, he's just going through a rough patch. Poetic. When I asked Marissa why she had assisted, she replied, because you deserve backup, and I couldn't sleep knowing they'd keep bleeding you. She was no longer merely Derek's ex. She was a truth teller with receipts. Dad lost his job discreetly. According to rumors, HR began looking into the matter after receiving an anonymous package. He tried calling me once more. Voicemail. You made your point, Silas. You've embarrassed all of us. But family is not a transaction. You'll regret this. I did not respond. Because this is the truth. Family is a transaction that has always been one-sided. Leah and I were solid. She was present when I told her everything, the good, the bad, and the bank records. She did not flinch, simply grasped my hand and said, I'm proud of you for not letting it turn you bitter. She's the first person in my life who has never required me to earn her affection via sacrifice. We plan to move in together this fall. A new location, bigger and brighter. And no, I did not ask anyone for money. I cashed the check. Then she donated every dime to a scholarship foundation for young nurses who support their families financially while attending school. Because someone out there recognizes me from 5 years ago. Breaking their back while their family pretends everything is okay. Let them know it isn't. Let them know they are not alone. So, where does this leave me? Stronger, quieter, wiser, still a son, still a brother. But it's no longer their lifeblood. I'm not carrying their weight anymore. I have my own boundaries. I carry my tranquility. And I remember the day I finally uttered this. I'm not your safety net. I'm my own person. They didn't comprehend me for that, but I adore myself because of it. So here's what I'm leaving behind. Shame, fear, and the notion that being the good one entails dying for others. And this is what I keep in my life. It's not flawless, but it is mine. And this time, I'm not sharing it with anyone who doesn't treat me like I'm important. I used to be the person they relied on. I now stand tall on my own. What about the door I closed that day? It's still closed. The key is currently in my pocket. And it is here to stay. My parent kicked out my sister, her fiancé, and their 3-month-old baby for their swinger friends. So I cut my parents off for good. Original post. This post will probably be long and I'll try not to ramble too much, and hope that this post is easy to follow. But I'm not sure how to handle the situation at hand, so I need advice. For context, my parents are swingers. I found out about them being swingers right after I graduated high school in 2016. I've never really had an opinion on the matter until recently. I don't care what they do behind closed doors, but I personally don't want to see it in person. I'm sure that makes me sound like a bad person. But I've always accepted them for who they are. It's honestly just really weird to see my parents make out with other people when they're around a group of people. Anyways, they are in a relationship with another couple, and have been with them for almost 2 years. They, being the other couple, just recently moved in with my parents because they lost their house and couldn't find another place in time. My parents kicked my sister, her fiancé, and their baby out of the basement in order to give their friends the space, and put my sister, her fiancé and baby upstairs in one bedroom to share, which is a small 12 by 12 room. The friends have also stated that they're another set of grandparents for my niece, and call themselves grandma, insert name, and papa, insert name. My sister and her fiancé are not comfortable with this, but my parents and their friends don't seem to care because they're all together as one. Now, on to the vacation. We were supposed to go on our first ever family vacation last year, October 2021, but it ended up getting pushed back to April of this year, due to costs, because of my wedding, which everyone was fine with. It then got pushed back again, because my sister was in her 3rd trimester of her pregnancy, and couldn't fly. It is now scheduled for February of 2023. My parents told my sister and I, along with our SOs, that they would be bringing their friends along on the vacation. And I'm frustrated about it, to be honest. With the way that they've been handling things with my sister, and with all of their PDA, it's made me not want to go anymore. It's our first ever family vacation, like I've already mentioned, and I wanted it to be just family. I'm at a loss, and I'm not sure how to handle the situation. And we don't want to upset my parents about how I, and everyone else, my husband, sister and BIL feel. Any advice? Edit 1. I'm married and do not live at home anymore. Although my sister, her fiancé, and baby do. They're currently looking for places. We live in a state where the cost of living is super high, like a lot of places right now. And with them only having one income, it's harder for them to find something. Hopefully that clears things up. Edit 2. I didn't expect this to get as much attention as it did. And I have read each comment, and taken advice. So thank you. I'm fully aware that my parents are adults and can do what they want. I never once said that they couldn't. And I never said I wasn't against their relationship with this other couple. They refer to themselves as swingers. But yes, you could say they are in a polyamorous relationship. The issue I have is how they shove it down everyone's throats. I don't care what they do in private behind closed doors. But once I see the PDA and the other things they do to each other when other people are around, that's where I get uncomfortable around the situation. They have a calendar on the fridge that says what nights they will swap beds and sleep with the other person. My mom and the other woman move between my dad and the other guy. There are also times where they make sexual jokes about screwing each other, or randomly flash each other when we are around. Like, at least wait until people aren't there to do those things. That's the part I'm not okay with. Relevant comments. Comment 1. Your parents sound incredibly demanding and childish. I wouldn't go at all, point blank. Tell me. Your parents strike me as the type of people who do shitty things, don't care about how anyone else feels, and cover it all by saying nonsense like, I'm just living my best life. This is so bizarre by so many degrees. OPP replied, it's so bizarre. I truly love my parents and I know it would hurt them if I tell them I'm not going. But it makes me so uncomfortable on so many levels to see them do things with another person. I think I'm just going to talk to them. And if they decide they're still taking them, I'll tell them I'm not going. Thank you for your comment. Comment 2. Yay, I'm all for alternative lifestyle and shit. But you can't be doing that around your kids. Family time is for the family, not family plus fuck buddies. OOP replied, I'm all for supporting my parents as they have always been there for me. But like I've mentioned, I don't want to see every single thing they do. A kiss here and there is fine. But to make out or make sex jokes about what they want to do to each other in front of me is not cool. And that's where I draw the line. Thanks for your comment. Comment 3. If I were you, I'd invite them out somewhere for coffee or lunch or whatever without their friends. Explain that I appreciate that they see me as enough of an adult that they were able to be honest about their relationship with the other couple. But with that being said, I'd hope that they can understand, though, how nobody wants to have their parents' sexual relationships on display in front of them. I'd tell them that I'm uncomfortable with this new couple, and do not view them as family, regardless of the relationship they currently have with them. The upcoming trip was to be a family vacation. And in light of all that is going on, it is no longer something that would be a fun trip with my family, and I will no longer be joining them. Let them be upset. They've decided who they want to spend time with. Update 1. Hi everyone. A few weeks ago, I made a post about my parents inviting their friends on a family vacation, and said I'd give an update after I talked to my parents. Well, I did, and it didn't go well. Also, sorry the update took so long. I've been struggling with the outcome really badly, and I needed time to write it all out. So, on to the update. I brought up all of my feelings to my parents and they weren't very happy. They asked why I never brought it up, and I told them that it was because I was fine with everything, until I started seeing it, and that's when it made me uncomfortable. Now they think I don't accept them for who they are and they don't really see an issue with inviting their friends or doing other things with their friends in front of everyone else around. My mom basically said that what they do is none of my business, or anyone else's, and they can do what they want. Which is true, they're adults, and can do what they want. But some of the things they do should be in private settings, and not for others to see. They also consider their girlfriend and boyfriend to be family, again which is fine, I know many people do. And since it's a family vacation, they're still inviting them, regardless of how everyone feels about it. I just want to be with my parents for once without their friends being there, and having them be all over each other. They also see no issue with their friends calling themselves grandparents to my niece. I got upset and told them my husband and I would not be attending the vacation, and they could take someone else. And until they understand where I'm coming from, I would not be going around. So for the time being, my parents are being cut off. I'm very sad about the outcome, and it makes me sad that they would choose their friends over their own child. But to each their own, I guess. Thank you all for the comments. I read every single one of them. Even if I didn't comment back, I still read them. There were some very nice supporting ones that really helped, and also some not very nice ones that also helped. So thank you all. Final comment from Oop on her sister. Yes, my sister agrees with me. I'm not sure if she's planning on going or not, so if she doesn't, we might go on our own little vacation. This is a repost sub. I am not the Oop. Story 2. Am I the asshole for telling my dad I have no interest in meeting his new family? Original post. I, 17 female, haven't had a relationship with my dad since I was 8 years old. It broke me when my dad left BC. It wasn't just him. I lost my aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents. They all stopped talking to me. I've been in therapy since I was 11. I worked out a lot of my issues about my dad. My mother remarried when I was 7. I have a stepdad and 2 brothers I love very much. I am applying to colleges, and feel happier than I ever have. 3 weeks ago I got a call from my dad. He told me he was engaged. He was getting married in the fall. He wanted me to come to a reunion so they can get to know each other's family, and I can get to know my new siblings. He said she wanted to meet his kids before they got married. My father has 3 kids. Me, my brother and sister. I have a relationship with my sister but we're not close because she lives far away. I hung up. I couldn't deal with it. I was emotional, and I bawled my eyes out. The next day I called my dad. I told him I had no interest in meeting his new family, that he was cruel for abandoning an 8-year-old. Even more cruel for reaching out because he was forced to do so. I already had a family I was happy and secure with and I had no interest in him being in my life. BC he was no longer my dad, and to not contact me. I called my sister to ask if he reached out to her. He did, and she was going to go. I told her the conversation. She said what I said was appropriate. BC it was true, but I could have been nicer about it. I was a bit sad, but my family was there to comfort me. My sister sent me a link to a Facebook post that my new stepmother had shared, saying she couldn't believe that, A perfect man could have such terrible children. My sister told me she was not going to go to the reunion BC. She agreed she didn't want to meet this woman after what she said about us. I thought that would be the end of it. And though that post upset me, I tried to let it go. But I started getting calls from my father's side of the family, even my brother, telling me I was a bitch, an asshole for ruining the reunion by telling my dad he wasn't my dad. They told me that he canceled the whole thing, and he was questioning whether he should get married at all. They told me I could have reached out. It wasn't fair they were being the ones blamed for the falling out. I have since blocked them. I did see a post on FB saying my dad postponed his wedding. But now I can't stop thinking about what they said. I mean, yes, I could have reached out, but I feel that's not fair, because I was 8. I shouldn't have to be the one that makes amends. I know that I was harsh and could have gone about telling him I didn't want him in my life in a nicer way. But I don't think I did anything wrong. Maybe that's because everybody around me is taking my side. I've had multiple people tell me I'm an asshole. I feel guilty, and I want an outside perspective. Am I the asshole? Edit. I just want to add some stuff. My sister is 23. My brother is 28. My mother had nothing to do with my family cutting me out. 2 years ago I called my dad under the advice of my therapist. When he answered, I started crying and he didn't say anything. He just hung up on me. I think that's when I really moved on from my dad. Relevant comments. Therapy and brother relationship. Hello. Thanks for your kind words. I am currently still in therapy. I don't plan on leaving anytime soon, and I know that I need it, and it benefits me in more ways than one. I am my mother's only biological child. She has said that I should cut ties with my brother. I have also been talking to my sister quite a bit today about what to do about our brother. We only share DNA from our dad. The same as I do with my sister. She says that I need to cut ties with him completely as well, but at the same time, I do feel bad because he went through the same abandonment that I did. It's just my dad actually came back to him, whereas he didn't come back to me or my sister. As of right now I haven't cut ties, not officially anyway, with my brother, but it does seem like that's where it's headed. What on earth did he tell his family when he stopped talking to you? I don't know what he told his family or his fiancée, but when I started building a relationship with my sister, he did tell my sister's mother that my mother had filed a restraining order against him, and that was the reason that he couldn't be around me, which was 100% not true. I can assure you there was never a restraining order filed. My sister's mother figured that out, and when she talked to my father about it, he admitted that he lied. About the timeline of her parents' marriage. My parents got divorced when I was 2. For the next 5 years I would go back and forth from my mom to my dad's house. Over the last 2 years that I had a relationship with my dad, those visits went from every weekend, to every other weekend, to once a month, to every other month. And then there was nothing from my dad or any of his family. One day they just stopped talking to me, about 3 months after my father had not come pick me up for his annual visitation. My mother's took me to his house, and we found out that he had moved back to Mississippi where his family was from. After that we never talked again until I was around 12, and he called me to tell me happy birthday. He called me one more time the same year to say Merry Christmas. After that, I didn't hear from him again, until 3 weeks ago when he called me. My dad was such a jealous freak, like to the point where he would be mad when she went to work. There was this guy that my mother worked with, and he was super jealous of him. And one day he finally just accused her of cheating, and she said she didn't cheat, and he didn't believe her and he left and then he came home. The next day he admitted to having sex with another woman, and then they got divorced. About 2 years later my mom started a new job and she ended up dating her boss, and they got married when I was 7. And now he's my stepdad. But I also only hear my parents' side of the story. I've never heard my dad's side of the story. He's never really thought it was important enough to tell me his side of the story. But that's what I know of the whole situation. I really don't know the true story, because I was 2 when everything happened, and me and my dad were never really close. He never told me important things about his life. We didn't talk much when I was with my dad. I mostly spent the time with his boyfriend. Dad's messed up marriages. Me and my siblings all have different mothers. My father has been married 4 times. If he does marry this woman, this will be his 5th marriage. I didn't even know of my sister's existence until I was 9 years old. My sister's mother reached out to my mother when she noticed that her daughter's child support had gone down, because my father wasn't meeting his mandatory visitation rights and had to pay more child support towards me. The court told my sister's mother that he had 2 other children, and she reached out to my mother. We had dinner together. She also reached out to my brother's mother, but they had no interest in knowing my sister. I don't know if my father has other children. As far as I'm aware, he doesn't. But he lied to me and my brother about my sister, and he lied to my mother about the existence of my brother before she had me. So honestly, who knows? But I do know that his fiancée has children between the ages of, I believe, 3 to 19. What the heck did he say to you on the phone? The way I remember the conversation going was him saying, "Hello, this is so-and-so. I just wanted to let you know that I'm having this family reunion. Because recently I got engaged, and I'm going to be getting married in the fall, and I was hoping that you would be interested in coming to the reunion. Your brother's going to be there, as well as the rest of my family. And you can meet my fiancé, and your new step-siblings." That's not exactly word for word, but that is the gist of the conversation. And no, he did not apologize. When I called him back the next day, he actually sounded quite mad that I hung up on him in the first place, and he said relatively the same thing, just in a harsh tone with fewer words. And that's when I told him that I didn't want to meet his family. He called me about 40 times after I hung up over the course of the next 2 days. Op is voted not the asshole. Update. I've talked to my dad and his fiancée. I told her everything about everything. Their wedding was off for 11 days, but now it's back on. She didn't really say much to me about it. She mostly just brushed past it. They want to come out here, where I live, and have dinner with me and my mom. My sister has also agreed to come to the dinner, but now he's talking about coming to stay with him for a little while. And I don't want to do that. I'm a little nervous about the whole thing now, and I just don't want to start another dance with my father that ends badly for me. Relevant comment. I don't plan on going to the wedding or any other events that include my dad after the dinner. The only reason that I agreed to go to the dinner was because my sister asked me, not because he asked me. I don't have any interest in having a relationship with my dad, but I do think that it would be healthy if I didn't have any hatred for my dad. I don't want to be in this limbo where I just feel shitty for the rest of my life, because I have hatred toward my dad, and I felt like this was an easier way to just deal with it, and move on, and let it go. Final update. I had dinner with my father and his new fiancée, as well as her children on the 18th of May. I feel like I got a lot of childhood feelings off of myself. I explained to my father, his fiancée, and her family, why I felt the way that I felt, as well as my reasoning for not wanting to come. I told him that I had no intention of being in his life over the necessary amount. My dad did ask me quite a couple times if I was going to be up to go to the wedding. I did agree to go, but I made it clear that I don't want to be involved as an official member in his life. More so someone he might see around the holidays, birthdays, or special events, but other than that, I have no intentions of seeing or interacting with him. He seemed fine with that, and it was a perfect solution for me. I've been told by many of you, as well as people in my personal life, that I should just cut him out of my life and move on. I just feel that having unresolved feelings is unhealthy. Not having answers to things that you could have answers seems kind of ridiculous if you have the option to get the answers that you want. My relationship with my father is never going to be great. It's never going to be perfect. It's probably never going to be anything other than okay, because I don't really think I can see him as anything other than a deadbeat dad. But I'm going to try my best to be civil, because I don't want to have any more unresolved feelings with anybody else. I know that it's been over a month since my last update, but during that time I finished my senior year with 4 Bs and 4 As. I turned 18 on the 21st of May. I graduated high school and started a new job. It's been a pretty busy month, and so honestly I wasn't even nervous about talking to my father because I felt like it was just so busy that it was just another thing to do, but I'm glad it's over and done with, and I can move on with my life. Thanks for watching and diving into this wild family drama with me. If you love Reddit family drama, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the next one. Wife secretly lived an open relationship, spent $30,000 on her lover's card, and lied to everyone. Now she's desperate to keep it out of court. Too long. Didn't read. OP is 30 male and married to Emily 28 female. They've been together since high school and have had a great marriage up until now. Emily is a successful hair and makeup artist who owns her own business which mostly caters to weddings. A lot of her success is due to John, 40M. A wealthy local business owner who has sent her a lot of work, and contacts OP sees a message preview from John to Emily about how incredible the previous night was. Emily had worked late. OP then finds more evidence of other meetings, and discovers expensive jewelry and clothes which he had not purchased and written off as gifts from high-end clients. OP also realizes Emily does not love John but enjoys the lavish gifts and perks he provides. She never replies to John's loving messages, reminds John he should love his wife, and still treats OP as a loving best friend. OP is broken and will file for divorce. Emily is unaware he knows about the affair. Update 1. OP asks Emily CYA questions about their relationship, and she admits he has never abused her or cheated on her, and she wishes they made love more. They spend Christmas at her parents' house, and a gift arrives for Emily from Santa, with a very expensive gold bracelet. Emily is visibly annoyed and tells everyone it is from a bridal client. She later has an angry phone call while gesticulating wildly. On New Year's Eve, Emily has to work late to deal with a bridezilla, but promises to be back for their annual kiss at midnight tradition. She arrives at 1:30 a.m. sobbing profusely. OP asks what happened and she says she is just sad because she missed their kiss. I asked her if she had anything else to tell me. She assured me that she didn't. I asked her point blank then if she cheated on me. She swore up and down that she didn't, and that she was upset because she missed the countdown. Because since we have been married, we always kissed each other when the clock struck midnight. I gave her every opportunity to come clean, and she still lied to me. OP begins searching for attorneys while Emily is still unaware he knows. Update 2. OP finds new communications from Emily warning John. OP suspects something. Emily tells John they need to stop, and it is not fun anymore, and she doesn't want to lose her marriage. John mentions she should still use the credit card he gave her to hide their activities. Emily also messages her best friend Bev, who has known of the affair and apparently has supported Emily through it. OP finds a good attorney and his dad helps pay for it. The attorney says the next step is to find a PI to get more evidence, and the attorney will subpoena the credit card. She also recommends beginning therapy. Emily loves bombs OP and talks about starting a family. OP has complicated emotions switching between anger, disgust, and missing wanting her. But overall he is miserable. Emily now suspects he knows something. Update 3. OP hires a PI who then follows John. On Valentine's Day, John leaves flowers and a card at Emily's business. Emily throws them in the dumpster, and the PI retrieves them. The card has graphic details of their affair, e.g. John trying to win her back by describing his favorite parts of her body, and what he does with them. The PI later sees Emily meet with John in a parking lot, and seemingly end the affair. Emily will be served soon. OP begins love-bombing her to show her what she will lose. OP has determined he is completely ghosting her once she is served. Update 4. Too long didn't read. Emily is served at her business, and she freaks out. OP sends a letter to family and friends describing her affair and includes John's graphic letter. He then messages Bev's husband, and lets him know that Bev supported the affair. OP leaves a note to Emily, lawyer contact info, and photos of her affair, then leaves the house before Emily arrives. Emily messages him over and over saying they were supposed to get through this, and she loves him. He ghosts her. Emily now knows he knows. This is major event, so OP's post is included here. I left Emily. We got the divorce papers, summons, petition, standing orders, etc. The PI, acting in his capacity as a process server, wore a body cam for obvious professional reasons, and I was able to look at the footage when he came by my hotel room later on in the afternoon. The PI walked up to Emily, who was sitting at her station, and chatting with the other stylists who work for her. He showed her a manila envelope and told her he had legal documents for her, and she had been served. Emily of course looked shocked and confused, and just stared at him, gobsmacked. The PI clarified that the envelope contained legal documents regarding a divorce case filed against her, and he told her she should review them and contact her attorney. Then he dropped the documents at her feet with a satisfying slap as they hit the ground since she refused to take them and told her she's still been served. He then told her to have a nice day and walked out. Morgan Freeman narrator voice, Emily didn't have a nice day. I could hear her hyperventilating as the PI left and saying, "What? What is this? Really, Emily? You're actually surprised?" I was at home and after the PI called and said he was heading in to serve her, I called Emily's dad. Since my mom died, I had, probably unwisely, been treating her mom, my mother-in-law, like a mother. I just couldn't talk to her. I told Emily's dad about the divorce. I tried to keep it very simple and quick. Emily cheated on me. We're getting a divorce. I'll send you an email shortly with evidence of the affair. I stressed that Emily was being served divorce papers today, so she would absolutely need their support, and they should head over to our house immediately. Emily's dad acknowledged that and said that he hoped we could find a way through this, and it would be a shame to break up our family. I guess Emily's mom was nearby and overheard because she took the phone from him, put it on speaker, and asked if this is true. I explained to her about the cheating and the email with the evidence they'll receive. She started crying and apologizing to me. Since this thing started, she was the first person close to me who apologized to me. I was reminded of my mother, who always would comfort me when I was down, and I just broke, y'all. I started tearing up and croaked out, "I have to go," and hung up on her while she was saying, "No, wait." I had packed up my work laptops and got a lot of my clothes in 2 large suitcases. On the advice of my attorney, I took down the cameras in the bathrooms and bedrooms when I left. But the cameras in the common areas can remain because my dad is the owner of the house. I packed the cameras up in my suitcases too. My lawyer sent the subpoena to the credit card company on Monday when I pulled the trigger on my marriage. I wrote an email to Emily's dad and sister and to some mutual friends who know both of us, including Bev's husband. It said, "I never thought I'd be writing this. But after everything that's happened, I don't see another choice. I wanted you to hear it from me directly so that there's no confusion or misinformation. Emily has been having an affair with a man named John, last name. I have evidence, emails, financial records, and an investigation that confirms it. I think we all know that her bracelet gift from Santa was not from a client. Because the client would have identified themselves by name, and clients don't know her parents' address. She's been meeting John and hiding it from me for months. I know this is painful to hear, and trust me, it's even more painful to write. But I didn't want you to be blindsided by all of this later. I'm attaching a few things to this email that make it clear what's been going on, and to head off any of your concerns about the truth of my statements. I know this is shocking, and I don't expect you to take sides. I just want you to have the truth. I love Emily, but she's broken our marriage beyond repair, and I have no choice but to move forward with a divorce. Mother-in-law's name. Mother-in-law's name. Mother-in-law's name. Mother-in-law's hubby. Thank you for being like a second family to me. I will miss all of you. I wrote a similar email to John's wife and gave her my attorney's name and number if she wanted to go see the physical evidence herself. It would have to be in my lawyer's office. Personally, I think my lawyer's going to try to get John's wife to give her a retainer. I also sent a group text for them to check their emails. Then I blocked Emily's family. To the email I attached a photo of John and Emily kissing goodbye in the hotel parking lot, and a photo of the contents of John's Valentine's Day card to Emily. It was explicit. Finally, I had a link to the recording of Emily saying that I didn't abuse or cheat on her. I just wanted to head that bullshit off ahead of time. OP then goes into details on the letter to Bev's husband. I then left my wedding ring, a printed copy of the same photo of Emily and John at the hotel parking lot, kissing, my lawyer's business card, and a note. Thanks for your help on this, guys. The note said, I hope your affair with John was worth our marriage. We are getting a divorce. Contact my lawyer if you have any questions or need to get in touch for arrangements regarding the divorce. Otherwise, get a lawyer, and let's get this over with. If you're truly remorseful, then do me the courtesy of giving me the easiest, most generous divorce possible. I loved you, and I could have forgiven almost anything, except abject betrayal. I would have loved you for the rest of my life. On my way out, I got a call from Emily that I ignored. I put my phone on silent and dropped by the bank. I took out half our money from the various accounts we have. Checking, emergency, vacation fund. I have already frozen my credit. When I got to the hotel, I canceled our shared credit cards. I made arrangements to freeze our joint investment accounts so that she couldn't withdraw money from them. They're in my name. Adultery subreddit pro tip. People, if you cheat, make financial arrangements ahead of time in case you get caught. I then got a text from her. I left her on read because my lawyer told me that if she confesses to the affair over text, we can use that as more evidence for the divorce. I'm responding to her texts here only, because it's therapeutic to me. messing with the language writing of her texts, because I'm paranoid. Note, OP clarified that Emily used normal language in her texts, and he only changed it to shorthand here to avoid her searching for her comments online and finding this post. This is the condensed version of the past 12 hours or so. WTF is this? I'm divorcing you. Answer her phone. We need to talk right now. Nope. I've had enough gaslighting for a lifetime, thank you very much. This was followed up by a lot of texts demanding I call her or answer her calls. No thanks. Then the text changed. So I presume she got home and read the note and saw what I left. I don't know what you think you know, but I can explain everything. It's not what you think. You're right, Emily. I'm a stupid idiot who'll believe anything you say. Divorce? We love each other. We're supposed to work through this mistake. Mistake? Oops, my wet hoo-ha fell onto John's erect wee-wee. Repeatedly, for almost a year. Oopsie. Look, I know I fucked up, but don't do this, don't leave like this. Finally, an acknowledgement of the affair over text. Zing, right to my lawyer. I never stopped loving you. I never loved him. Another gift from Emily. Zing. Right to my lawyer. Then the tone changed later. Overreacting. Acting like I never loved you, like I wasn't trying to fix things. But you wouldn't let me. Fix things. Okay. Build a time machine, Emily. Build a goddamn time machine. Are you just going to ghost her own wife? Consults Magic 8 Ball. All signs point to yes. Then, her parents showed up at the house. Hoo boy. What the fuck did you do? And then, you had no right to involve my fam like this. Followed by, are you trying to humiliate me? Are you trying to ruin my life? Do you hate me that much now? Kinda. It's complicated. After that comes a barrage of phone calls that I didn't answer. How could you do this? How could you try to turn my own family against me? I'm trying to have them not turn against me. And then, I told you I never loved him. I never loved him. No one cares, honey. Least of all John. I know you love me. I love you too. We can fix this. We can fix everything. And then, just tell me what to do. Tell me how to fix this. I'll do it. Let me get this straight. You wiped your ass with our marriage vows and stabbed me in the back, and now you want me to tell you how to fix this shit? I had to go to Walmart because I forgot to pack underwear, and I don't have a rich sugar daddy to buy me some fancy skivvies from Saks Fifth Avenue. You never loved me if you could do this to me. Fuck this shit. I'm going to have to block her instead of leaving her on red. I don't think I can take this, man. So this is how a marriage ends. No fanfare, no heroic deeds, just whining, crying, anger, and depression. Just like any other divorce, really. Only this is my divorce, and it feels like the end of the fucking world. But in reality, this is all just beginning. I feel this whole process is going to take years. I hope not. My lawyer assures me that, with the evidence we have, it'll go relatively quick. Meanwhile, I'm thinking, what? Relatively quick? Relative to what? Continental drift? At this point, I just want to thank you beautiful men and women who supported and encouraged me. I'd vacuum out all your cars if I could and clean your bathrooms. I just want a falling anvil to hit me in the head and cause amnesia like a cartoon character or a Hallmark Channel movie. I know this is tonally all over the place. I keep second-guessing myself if I did the right thing. I just changed my life today in a fundamental way. I'm wondering if it's a lateral move. I feel like I've moved from a warm cesspool to a cold gray rocky place. Is it an improvement? I feel like I have these scars now, and the one who gave them to me is the one person in the world I trusted the most. I will never forgive her. Now I have to buck up and walk it off like a real man because feelings and tears are weak and a turnoff. I just want my mom. Update 5. Emily sends an email describing the affair. She says John saved her business, then began pressuring her until she gave in. It was supposed to be once, but he kept pushing for more, and called her ungrateful when she tried to stop. She never loved him, and always loved OP, and hoped their relationship would survive this. Her family has also told her she messed up and understands why OP is divorcing her. OP can't believe she is acting like a victim and doing trickle truth without mentioning how fun she said it was, and the credit card that bought her lots of expensive things. He just wants the divorce to be finished. OP is still ghosting Emily. She has not seen or spoken with him since he said goodbye and left for work the day she was served. Update 6. OP is staying at a friend's rental. His friends take him out and play D&D. He tries to forget about life for a while. OP's lawyer says John's wife Lisa contacted her. They will work together on aligning evidence for their respective divorces. Update 7. OP meets with John's wife, Lisa. They share timelines and evidence. On New Year's, John was vacationing with Lisa and their 3 kids. Then he flew home early. Lisa found a video of Emily going to their house with John that night. OP meets with his mother-in-law. He has a very close relationship with her, especially after his mother passed. She brings him groceries and homemade meals, and tells him he needs to eat more. The mother-in-law asks if reconciliation is possible, and OP says the man Emily married is dead, and the man who is left would treat her horribly. Mother-in-law says Emily is staying with them, and spends all day crying in her room and only comes out to get water. OP suggests mother-in-law gets her in therapy. Update 8. Bev deleted all social media, and OP has no idea what is going on with her. The lawyer received the credit card records of the card John gave Emily. She spent $30,000 over 9 months, including hotel dates, gifts, and even items she bought for OP. She also spent $175 at a sex superstore for John. There is a gag order, so Emily's lawyer doesn't know they have the records. The credit card records infuriate and break OP, who calls Emily a whore with a wealthy John. Any remaining love for Emily is gone. Emily's lawyer has reached out to set up a meeting between both groups. OP can ask one question beforehand to get a full answer. OP asks to describe what really happened on New Year's Eve. Update 9. OP and his lawyer meet with Emily, mother-in-law, and their lawyer. OP has anxiety and takes a pill which makes him happy and floaty during the meeting. Emily's lawyer offers terms which asks OP to try reconciliation for 9 months, and then gets generous terms if they still divorce afterward. OP's lawyer says they will review it. Emily also provides a written answer about what happened on New Year's Eve. OP's lawyer brings up the credit card charges. Emily's party is shocking. Her lawyer stammered and was obviously unaware of the card. Mother-in-law shakes her head, especially at the sex store entry. Emily freaks out and nearly runs away. OP's medicine reacts and he throws up. He then offers Emily his terms, which have been updated to include his fresh puke. Discussions end. Emily's lawyer drops her as a client since he was a family friend doing a favor, and didn't appreciate the lies from her. Emily's written answer about NYE states that she was actually working late with a bridezilla. Then John met her and he drove her to his house so he could call his family, which he had just ditched on vacation. They then had unsatisfying sex, and John did a power play to keep Emily after midnight so she missed her kiss with OP. Here is OP's description of the events of the day. So we had the negotiation today around 10 a.m. Emily, as expected, looked well put together but tired. She had her hair up in a carefully crafted blonde ponytail, and was wearing a very short black dress with a suit jacket. Emily looked at me with a pained expression, and did her fake smile. She was shaking slightly the whole time, and taking these deep breaths periodically. She didn't say anything, but she sure looked like she wanted to. Emily's mom was dressed in a nice sundress and she had done her makeup and hair, or Emily had done it. She smiled at me genuinely, and reached for me but then held back like she realized I was the enemy today. I gave her a little smile and wave. They proceed to review Emily's proposal and other general questions to OP. OP is floaty throughout. My lawyer then pulled out a folder of the credit card records and put it on the table and told Emily's side that we know she had a Visa Infinite card in her name that was billed to John's wedding venue business. Emily immediately tensed up and froze, wild-eyed. Emily's mom's head snapped to stare at her. Emily's lawyer cleared his throat loudly and blinked like 700 times. My lawyer started reading off hotel charges and dates, and asking why those charges and dates coincided with meetings with John in her appointment book. Emily started shaking and stuttering. Her lawyer instructed her to be silent. He said that they were not aware of any credit card, and that they were not notified of this evidence. My lawyer told them that they were notified now, and handed him another folder, with copies of the credit card records. My lawyer then talked about the charges in December that included the toy store, and asked if she bought me and her family Christmas gifts with the card. Emily was breathing heavily, and had a nice flop sweat forming. Not a good look, Emily. Not a good look at all. Her mom said, "What?" Emily's lawyer cleared his throat like a magician's assistant who knows the trick is about to fail. My lawyer then asked if Emily recognized the clothes I was wearing and could she point out in the card records which charges coincided with them. Emily stood up and looked like she was about to bolt. Her lawyer looked annoyed. My lawyer then asked Emily about the $175 charge at the local name sex superstore. And Emily's lawyer sighed heavily and said that he felt that the meeting had stopped being productive. Simultaneously, Emily's mom looked down at the floor, said, "Oh God," and got up and left the room, her hand over her mouth. Knowing my mother-in-law, the "oh God" was more of a prayer than an expletive. "God, sorry I can't answer my phone right now. But if you leave your name, number, and a brief message." At the same time the sex superstore was mentioned, Emily started going crazy and saying she can explain. "It's not what I think." Emily's shame has entered the chat. Floaty me just sat there like an ape researcher watching monkeys throw their shit at each other like, "Yep, this is happening. How many eggs do I have left at home? Forgot to count this morning." So I had taken the Klonopin an hour before the meeting on an empty stomach, and my stomach was now filing for divorce too. I hurried over to the small trash can, picked it up, and vomited into it. Not much came out other than the expensive bottled lawyer water I had drank earlier. Afterwards, I sat down casually like, "Nah. I didn't just vomit into a trash can." You're seeing things while Emily was asking if I was sick, and if I was okay. I ignored her. Emily started sobbing and apologizing, and asked to speak with me privately, while her lawyer comforted her awkwardly, while shushing her, and herding her out of the room. Taking the folder and a copy of our offer that my lawyer launched at him as he was gathering his stuff. His face was the color of a tomato, Floaty me observed. I was still sitting there after the door shut, and my lawyer grabbed Emily's business records and told me that she was right. It would be a short meeting. Floaty me looked at my lawyer silently for a bit, and pointed at the vomit trash can. "Can we make that part of our offer too?" For the first time since I met her, my lawyer started really laughing hard. Like a stomach holding laughter. She said she'll mention it. As to what Emily said happened on New Year's Eve, it was something I couldn't have guessed. Emily said she actually did go to the Bridezilla's get-together in order to make an appearance. She was invited but not required to be there like she told me. She met John there because it was John who introduced her to the Bridezilla, and got her that gig. John had a business relationship with Bridezilla's dad, and was invited as well. John and Emily left the venue separately, but met in the parking lot, and John gave Emily a ride to the hotel because she had been drinking. Instead of going to the hotel though, John insisted they go to his home instead, despite her protests. She didn't want to antagonize him, so she went along with it, but complained the whole time about getting out of there by 11:30. They went to his place, he FaceTimed his wife. They had very unsatisfying sex in his marital bed, her words. And she drove him back to the venue where the NYE Bridezilla family get-together was, which was empty by that time. She drove home, having sobered up some. Nauseating. But it's what I needed to hear. I had assumed they went to the hotel, had sex, and then again at his place. Turns out, they skipped the hotel entirely. He drove her straight to his house under the guise of needing to FaceTime his wife at midnight, and to defile their marital bed. Romantic, right? At least she didn't enjoy herself though, right? Right? That makes all the difference. Thanks for watching and sticking around till the end. If you enjoyed these stories, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss the next drama-filled episode. My wife left me without a word, remarried and got pregnant after I cheated once. Now I'm haunted by questions. How can I get her back? Original post. I know, I'm aware of my faults. I know I screwed up. She and I had something beautiful. She is still the love of my life. We were together for 10 years, 2 dating and 8 married. But I made a huge mistake and cheated on her. It was just once, just one damn time. Somehow she found out. I never knew how because I haven't been able to talk to her since then. I guess she found something on my phone. I came home that afternoon as usual, and everything felt weird. The house felt emptier. I quickly realized that her things were gone. I panicked. I started calling her over and over, but her phone didn't even ring. Suddenly I saw some papers on the table. She was divorcing me. Under the divorce papers, there was a note that said, "This is what you do with cheaters." That was the last thing I got from her 2 years ago now. Of course, I called the contact information for her lawyer, who has been the only bridge between us. But he just told me that he was her legal representative, and that she didn't want to see me. I fought. I got angry. But in the end, her lawyer just told me that it would be better if I got my own lawyer. I didn't want to. I absolutely refused to accept that 10 years of relationship would end like this. I know I have failed, but I always wanted to fix it. I know that if she gave me the chance, I could make that sweet and special girl I met more than 10 years ago fall in love with me again. I know that I can make her forgive me. After all, many couples go through similar things and get over it. Why can't we be one more couple in that statistic? Why after 8 years of marriage am I thrown away like garbage for a mistake? I don't deserve so much indifference. I haven't been able to see her or even hear her voice in 2 years. 2 years of not being able to see or talk to the person you love the most is too much of a punishment. This situation has destroyed me emotionally, mentally, and even physically. I ended up consuming an unhealthy amount of alcohol. Weeks of barely eating, not sleeping. I was a zombie for months. I was just functioning on automatic. I wanted to die, but I couldn't let myself die, because I always held on to hope that she would come back. My therapist says it's really hard when you can't get closure from a relationship because your mind can't process that the relationship is over. So you're always thinking that person will knock on the door or that you'll wake up from sleep and they'll be there by your side. The divorce was finalized over a year ago. I'll be honest. I didn't make it easy. I didn't want to get divorced and I still don't understand how we can be divorced. I asked for couples therapy, but she refused. I know from my lawyer that her lawyer advised her to go at least once or twice. But she refused. It took quite a while. But finally the divorce happened. I can't even describe the feeling. I felt and still feel like if a piece of me had been cut out. I know I hurt her. I know I failed. But I think we all deserve a second chance. When I couldn't take the pain anymore, I decided to start therapy. My therapist doesn't give me advice to get her back. He only focuses on me moving on with my life, encouraging me to meet new people and go out on dates. But I don't want to. At this point, I'm not even interested in sex anymore. A few days ago, something happened that completely shattered me. I was having a few beers with my friend at my house. Let's call him Nick. We were both pretty drunk. I started talking about my wife. And he said to me, "You should put more effort into getting over her. She's over you, and is happy having a life away from you. You should do the same. You can't live in this self-pity all your life." Something in his words hit me. But not in the way he expected. He spoke with a lot of confidence that my wife is over me and is happy now. How does he know that? At this point, I got angry and started pressuring him to talk. He refused. I pressed as hard as I could. I cried. I begged him to tell me if he knew something. I needed to know something about her. Until he finally told me. His wife has been in contact with my wife for the last year. They were great friends, and I remember Sabrina, my friend's wife, being very sad about losing contact with my wife. The thing is that my wife went to live in Norway, got married to a guy there, and is about 7 months pregnant. I felt like dying. I literally felt like dying with this information. How could she do this to me? How could it be that while I was crying, getting drunk, missing her and wanting to die every day, she was happily on the other side of the world, getting married, fucking and getting pregnant by another guy? How could it be that she didn't have a child with me in many, many years, to the point that I thought she was infertile, but she got pregnant by this new guy so easily? Where did this guy come from? I have no answers for absolutely anything, and I feel like I can't go on with my life without these answers. The only thing I can think of is that she had revenge sex with the first Norwegian guy she came across and got pregnant, and decided to keep the baby. Maybe she got married because she wanted to stay in that country legally. And I guess like in most countries, getting married is a good option for that. I don't know. These thoughts are killing me. I refuse to think that she is in love with him. I need to contact her. I need to talk to her. I need to know what's going on, because she acts like our 10-year history and 8-year marriage is nothing to her. I need advice on how to act. I feel the impulse to travel to where she is and look for her. But how could I do that? I don't know what city she's in. I don't know where she lives. I don't have a number to contact her. She closed her social media. Her family is small. They don't live in the same country as me, and all of them blocked me. I'm totally lost. I don't know what to do at this point. I still want her back, yes, even pregnant. I feel like this is a nightmare and I need to wake up now. Edit. I read almost all the comments, and when I say almost all I really mean almost all. It's hard to process all the crap that's been said about me. I feel like you guys forget that you are talking to a person and not an inanimate object. I thought I might find more empathy by sharing my story here. Just two people feeling empathy towards me and their comments made me feel better. I'm not looking for validation or for anyone to say that what I did is okay. I know it's not and I have to live with that daily. I will try to respond, but of course I'll never be able to respond to all the comments over here. I guess none of you know what it's like to have a broken heart and not be able to get over a person. You don't decide who you love, and you don't decide when you get over someone. It will happen when it has to. Those who doubt my story, unfortunately, are real. I would love this to be fake, but sadly it is not, and I have to live with this mess every day. Everyone assumes she's happy now. I don't know. I mean, how do you know? I haven't seen her in 2 years. I can't have any idea if she's happier or not. Being pregnant doesn't necessarily mean happiness. And being married either. We don't really know the circumstances of this marriage. Maybe she got married because she got pregnant and felt alone in a country where she has no one and she just holds on to the other guy. Of course I blame myself for this. This wouldn't have happened if I had been a better person and a better husband to her. But unfortunately, I can't change what I did wrong. The only thing I could do is try to make it up to her. But how do you make it up to someone who doesn't want to give you the chance to do so? Some people said that she doesn't owe me a second chance. That was hard to read, but I understand that maybe she doesn't have to. I never openly blamed her for the infertility issues. It was just a thought. We both went to the doctor, and in both cases the tests revealed that everything was fine. I never understood why we couldn't conceive. And the thought that she was infertile did cross my mind, and of course the idea that I was too. But in most cases of infertility, it is due to a female factor. Maybe that's why I thought that. Horrible things were said like I would hurt my ex-wife if she were here. I never physically hurt her, and I never will. I'm not an abusive person. I'm not a monster. I know it's hard to empathize with me. I know I screwed up. I know I hurt her way beyond what I can say. But I am not a monster or a narcissist. Some people said that I never loved her, otherwise I wouldn't have cheated on her. This statement doesn't seem fair to me. You think you can kidnap the concept of love and tell another person what his real feelings are? You think you are inside my head or heart? Only then would you know what I feel. You can't tell me that I don't love her. There hasn't been a day since she left that I don't regret it. No one can tell me this isn't love. Lastly, humans are more complex than most people here think. Just because I cheated on her doesn't mean I don't love her, or that I don't have feelings. I called what I did a mistake because how else would I call it? I thought part of accepting blame is accepting that it was my mistake. But everyone here takes those words as if I am trying to twist the situation when that's not the case. You've completely twisted my words. I know how much I hurt her. Maybe in my post I'm focusing on myself because I was never able to explain myself to her. Since then, for me it's been one attempt after another to put together a story in my head that doesn't make sense. I lost everything from one moment to the next. I simply tried to be open with my feelings, but it doesn't seem to work here. Not for me at least. I know the damage I did to her. This woman left her life, the country she emigrated to, her friends, even her job. No one does that for a breakup unless you're going through some level of absolute pain. I understand that. I can see and feel the pain I put her through, and that makes me feel even more guilty. Honestly, I'm going to respond to some comments below, and then log off of Reddit for a couple days until I feel in a better place. Relevant comments. Commenter. I want to know who you cheated on her with. That's pretty important information. OOP. It was a radon woman that used to go to the same gym. Nothing important. It didn't mean anything, not even for a second. I was just being an idiot. Commenter. You don't seem to have any remorse for cheating, just mentioned she somehow found out. So you were not planning on telling her? It's been 2 years, you need to accept responsibility for your actions and let go. She's never coming back. There's billions of people out there, just heal and improve yourself with therapy, and I'm sure you'll get a second chance with someone else. You're only 35. Oop. I do feel remorse for cheating. I'm a big mess right now, but I do feel remorse. Commenter. You may still be in love. She is not, at least not with you. Ope. So love just fade away? Just like this? At the end of the day, this sometimes makes me feel like I'm actually more loyal than her to our relationship. Meaning, she left, remarried, got pregnant, looks like she completely forgot about me, and I'm here crying while I drink some wine and respond to some strangers on Reddit about our relationship. I still love her, but for her it was so easy for her over me. Commenter. If only half the people on Reddit had the self-respect your ex-wife has. Oop. I don't blame her, I understand the pain I caused her. But I also think there are many couples who go through this and move on, especially when it was just one time. I never had a side relationship for months. I didn't cheat on her with multiple women. I didn't get another woman pregnant. I didn't cheat on her with her friend. Cheating is wrong, but are you really going to put me on the same level as a guy who cheated on his wife for years? Or who cheated on his wife with her sister? It's not an excuse, but I'm asking for some coherency here. Update 1. These days have been very strange. At times I feel numb, and at others desperate. A lot of things have happened. I want to start by answering something, and then I will update. Some people asked why Norway. I don't know exactly, but she is a polyglot. She speaks 6 languages. Many of these languages are connected to cultures that she always liked. Norwegian is just one of them. She has always been interested in Norwegian culture. She has been there before. But she is also interested in other cultures, and speaks other languages, so for me that was never an indicator that she might have gone to this country. Regarding the update, the first thing I will say is that the post reached some people in my circle. Sabrina's sister is on Reddit. She knows the story and realized it was me. She told Sabrina. Sabrina is angry at Nick for revealing information. Nick is angry at me for posting on Reddit, and because he says I pressured him to talk. I am angry at both of them for being two holes who watched me suffer for 2 years and decided not to help me. They didn't care about my marriage. Why should I care about their marriage? Sabrina could have given me my ex-wife's phone number a long time ago. But she decided to prioritize her friendship with my ex, instead of helping 2 friends mend their marriage. Meanwhile, no one cared about my feelings. I'm done with them at this point. Regarding my ex-wife, I've been thinking a lot. She can't just disappear. I convinced myself that if I searched hard enough, I could find something related to her. I follow some of her relatives from a fake Instagram account, but I never found anything related to her. I searched a lot. Really a lot, and found a name that I had seen before, but that hadn't caught my attention until then. It was a lady with a name that is not typical in the United States or my wife's country. She is not American. And a very strange last name. I went to her Instagram profile and she had no pictures or anything. Just a small profile picture that you can barely see. I decided to look her up on Facebook and found the same lady with the same profile picture. Only her Facebook profile is quite open. She is indeed a lady from Norway. I checked everything I could on this profile, and I was convinced that it had something to do with my wife. How else would a relative of hers have this woman in their friends? I saw a lot of pictures. People, plants, mountains, gardens, lakes, flowers. Typical things that an older lady posts. Until I came across a picture where my ex was dressed as a bride hugging a guy. I had to translate the text. The lady was congratulating her son on his wedding. There were a few more pictures, not many. There were even some members of my ex's family in the wedding pictures. The dates of the pictures were from a year ago. A year ago she married this guy. I don't understand. How could it happen so fast? When did she meet him? I honestly thought she got married after she got pregnant. Not before. This baffles me even more. After that I found another picture. It was a group picture and she was far away, but of course I recognized her. The same guy was with his hands on her shoulders, hugging her. This picture was from February 2023. To be clear, she left in May 2022. How is she with someone in February 2023? Only 9 months, and she's already in a stable enough relationship that he's introduced her to his family. What the hell is going on here? I feel like I have even more questions in my head now. I know I shouldn't be upset, but I am. I know I lost her because I was an idiot. But it's hard to get this feeling out of my head right now. Anyways, for those who had imagined this fantasy that my ex is with some kind of Norwegian Chris Hemsworth, let me tell you, it's not like that. This guy is too tall, too blonde, too pale, Hair too long and kind of chunky to be honest. He looks more like the old cartoon of Vikings and is definitely not a Chris Hemsworth. I managed to find his FB profile but he has almost nothing there. His profile says he's an engineer. An engineer who wears metal band t-shirts at 38. I don't know how to take this because I'm an engineer myself, just in a different field. Why would she look for a man with the same profession as me? My wife has always liked heavy metal, which I always found nasty, but I never complained. After all, your partner doesn't have to have the same musical tastes as you. I mention this because maybe that was the way they connected. She used to connect easily with people who liked the same type of music. I don't know, but I honestly look at it and think, where did she get this guy from? I meant he can definitely do better than this. The pregnancy thing still messes with my head. I try not to think about it. I can't understand it. I'm not infertile like the comments suggest. I've been to the doctor and I know I'm not. But God, it kills me to think that she's going to have another man's child. I don't get it. I feel like this is beyond anything I ever imagined. And no, I'm not going to go to Norway. I'm not going to try to contact her. I still want to see her and talk to her. But I obviously can't force her to do that. I have too much to deal with right now, and too much to talk about in therapy. If by any chance this post reaches my ex, I want you to know that I still love you. You know where to contact me. If by any chance this post reaches the new dude, I want you to know the only reason you have a chance with this woman is because a big idiot halfway across the world completely ruined it. You most probably met a woman who was probably very broken from her divorce. You took advantage of her situation and trapped her with a baby. You don't know how to play fair. This is a repost sub. I am not the oop. Thanks for watching and diving into this wild family drama with me. If you love Reddit family drama, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the next one. My dad said I couldn't go on my trip unless I took my spoiled stepsister. So I left at 6 a.m. without a word, and disappeared for a month. Original post. I, 17 female, am graduating and my friends and I have already planned a trip to a cabin for the summer before we start college. I have been a babysitter since I was 13, so I have saved up a considerable amount of money. When I was 15, my dad got remarried about a year and a half after my mom passed away. My dad's wife had a 13-year-old daughter, and as soon as we moved in together, they started to push her off on me and force us to do everything together. I don't like my stepsister. She's always throwing tantrums if she doesn't get what she wants. She's spoiled to the point that at my 16th birthday, she got her own special cake so she wouldn't feel left out, and she also blew out the candles on my cake. And when I complained, my dad told me, "It's time to grow up. Being a sister's about sharing things." I told him I didn't have a sister. And I guess she overheard and she went on a rampage. The party was ruined. I distanced myself more from them after that. I'm forced to either take her with me to places or stay home with her, if I can't take her, or my dad, or dad's wife can't watch her, or don't want to deal with her. Imagine everything that I said she does with my dad and his wife to a 15 to 17-year-old me. I was forced to take her bowling with me and she would not stop trying to dig her hands in the part where the balls come out, and she tried running down the lane, so I had to take her home and my night was ruined. This happens a lot, but they don't care. I have tried to keep this trip a secret from her, but when I was in my room on the phone talking about it over pizza and music, I found out she snuck in and hid in the closet and was eavesdropping. She bursted out asking if she could come, and I told her no, and to get out. She started stomping her feet and she ran out. My friends begged me to not invite her. My dad called me downstairs and asked if she could go, because she could use a vacation, and I told him I'm not taking her. They can take her on a vacation, but I'm not watching her for almost 3 weeks alone. My dad's wife called me selfish and that my dad was paying for a portion of it anyway, and if Lily doesn't go, then I don't get to go. I told her she doesn't get a say in any of this. She's not my mom, and to stop forcing her child on me when she created what she is. Lily starts yelling at me about not being a big sister, and I don't want to spend time with her. I snap and tell her I don't. She ran away crying, and my dad said he won't pay for the rest of my trip if I don't take her. So I told him if he does that, I will not be talking to him anymore. Nor will I forgive him for it. He said, "I'm being dramatic and she isn't bad." So I grabbed a bag and went to my aunt's house, my mom's sister, and told her what happened, and she said she would put up what he took away, and when I go to college, I can stay with her. I told my dad what I was doing and he blew up at me and said I was being a brat. And they're my family now, and not my aunt. As far as I know, she does not have any disabilities. She's been to doctors and therapy. She's just insanely spoiled, and that's how she's always gotten her way when told no. The first time I met her, everyone agreed on Mexican except her, and she was yelling in the car for 10 minutes before she calmed down by her mom appeasing her. Then she goes back on her phone texting. If she does, then that explains why she acts that way, and I can assume that she can't help it, but I still shouldn't be forced to watch her 24/7. Relevant comments. Commenter. Your aunt is acting more of a family than your dad. I agree. See if you can live with your aunt now. Are you dependent on your dad for college? Oop. I am not. My mom left me money for 2 years. I decided to do an RN program and then go back once I work and save up more money. Commenter. If you are being truthful about Lily's behaviors, it sounds like she has some sort of emotional or intellectual impairment. Has she had a formal diagnosis? Oop. No. She is just extremely spoiled and acts like this to get her way. She knows she just has to cry a bit and stomp around and they'll give in. To another commenter. She does not have any mental problems, she's just spoiled. She's been to doctors and therapy. To a deleted and downvoted comment. I don't have, nor did I want a sister. It's not even like they tried to slowly bring us together, they forced her on me. She constantly throws tantrums, so if any small thing is about me, she needs to be the center of attention. She may be a child, but she is not my child, and I shouldn't have had to become a parent because of my dad's wife's lack of parenting. Commenter. How far away from 18 are you? I would slowly start moving important things to your aunt's house, and then move on the day you turn 18. Make sure you let your school know not to contact your dad anymore, and that you are living with your aunt. Oopwee. I turn 18 in September. I have read the comments and I am making lists of everything I need to get and put at my aunt's house. On being the bigger person. I don't have to be a bigger person. I'm tired of being neglected and having her forced on me. I'm going on this trip without her, and if that ends up with me not talking to my dad anymore, so be it. He's an adult and parent here. Update 1. I know a lot of people wanted an update to my last post, but I can't post a link so you can go to my profile to see it. The trip happened, and I did not end up taking her, like I said I wasn't. From the time that I posted that up until the time that I left, the household was very tense and awkward. I was not speaking to any of them. The only person I had to confide in, and talk to my aunt, and I'm so grateful for her. My dad still thought that I was going to bring her on the trip, and I kept telling him that I am not watching her, and she is not coming with me. The morning of the trip we left at like 6 in the morning when he called me. I was already about 5 hours out, so he couldn't do anything. When I got back, it was a lot of yelling and crying from me and my dad and his wife. She said that I left them in a tough position, and they had to stay home because they couldn't get anyone to watch Lily. My dad and I had a serious talk for hours, and he agreed that maybe we need to separate so we can work on our relationship. Which hurt me, because I would have liked for him to tell me I can stay in my own home while we do it. But I did end up going to my aunt's house with no issues. My dad and I started family therapy with just the two of us. His wife was pretty upset. He was actually listening to me, and was seeing where I was coming from. Right when we were getting good and building a better relationship, I came over for dinner and he asked if we could integrate his wife and Lily into therapy, and I told him that I had no interest in having a relationship with them. She called me a selfish cunt. And that I need to be grateful that she let me stay with them after she moved in. I waited for my dad to correct her and he was pretty much silent, so I left, and I haven't talked to him in almost a month. He keeps showing me that he will not be on my side. So, to wrap things up, the cabin trip was so much fun. I have never felt so free from a burden. The trip was in June, and we were there for almost a month. We extended it. When I was packing for school, my dad came to visit, and I guess his wife called and he had to lie about where he was because, I guess she didn't want him to see me. So I told him, we don't need to have contact right now, or continue therapy, because it's clear which part of his family he cares more about. I don't know what's going to become of my dad, and right now I don't care. I'm focused on school and studying to become a nurse. I don't want any negativity to ruin this experience, but I'd be lying if I said it doesn't hurt that I don't have a parent to experience this with, but my aunt says she is my surrogate mom, and to share all my worries and success with her. I'm currently in my first week of college, and the amount of freedom I feel here is also so new. I am a little overwhelmed, but I am in an honors club. I also am in a creative writing book club, and the friends I have made are so amazing. I am currently living on campus and I have never been better mentally. I am getting separate therapy to deal with my mom's death because that was never offered to me by my dad. My aunt has truly become a mother figure to me. Being 2 states away from her is really hard, but I can't wait for weekend visits and holiday visits. Also, another thing is that I'm going to be a godmother. My aunt was told at 22 that she would never be able to have kids, and she is currently 4 months pregnant, and I'm so excited because if anybody is going to be a good mother, I know it's going to be her. When she came to visit and tell me, I think she saw, I was a little worried. I told her I am so excited and happy for her, and nothing will change that. But she's the only family I have right now and don't want to get left behind like I did at home, and we cried, and she promised me that she was filling in for my mom, and she will be there for the rest of my life, whether I like it or not. I am planning the baby shower and I can't wait for the baby to be here. But yeah. That's it. Thank all for checking up on me and giving me encouraging words. Relevant comments. Commenter. I just don't understand how your dad doesn't see that Lily is a massive problem, if they have to hire a babysitter at her age or being 15. And they were stuck at home with her as a result. Oop. He doesn't want to see it, or he does and cares more about keeping his wife happy. Commenter. Also, what do you write about in this writers club? Oop. Bring in work you have written and share it. Write flash fiction from the same prompt. Write poems, watch videos or lectures about writing techniques. Talk about writing contests or places to submit stories. We're talking about incorporating improv so we can be creative that way with our stories. Commenter. Downvoted. I feel like you should have set some better boundaries instead of just giving up. You need to lay it out for him. Do you really think she's good for your life if she's keeping you away from your daughter? Are you really a man and a father? If you're going to let a woman dictate what you can and can't do? I would tell him straight up, you don't have the luxury of giving up because you made me, so I would appreciate if you get a goddamn backbone and start acting like it. OP. That's fair, and I respect your opinion, but it's not my job to try and fix anything, or set boundaries anymore. We did talk about it in therapy, and he still tried to integrate them into the sessions. When I have expressed hundreds of times, I do not want that, so I'm done trying. I'm the child in this situation. Relevant comments. Comment 1. To not be able to go anywhere, because you have a 15-year-old who cannot be left alone for a few hours. That child needs therapy and better parents. She will be dependent upon her mother and stepfather for life. Reply 1. I'm really looking forward to seeing how long that marriage will last now that OOP is no longer there to be their buffer. My take is that the dad eventually says out loud, something to the effect of how sick he is of his stepdaughter to his wife, or he actually shuts the stepdaughter down for once. The wife says something like, how dare you, or just give her what she wants. This repeats a couple of times until they divorce, or the dad becomes eternally crotch-bound to the woman. It's the age-old battle of divorced, widowed fathers versus magical vaginas. Comment 2. Lily has to be almost 16 at this point. Why on earth do these parents need to hire a babysitter for her in the first place? Where are they going? Why can't she take care of herself if they're gone? Reply 2. My babysitter was 15 and just turned 16. She was watching my unruly 4- and 2-year-old. They love her. But that's how normal 15-year-olds are. She's good with kids, and I know not all 15-year-olds are, but they certainly don't need a babysitter. They're only enough to be babysitters. Comment 3. This dad is useless and pathetic. Doesn't even jump to defend OP when that wife insulted OP. He deserves to be lonely and miserable for the rest of his life. Reply 3. It's outrageous that the new wife suggested she should be grateful for letting her stay, and the father says nothing. That's a complete betrayal of his daughter. But there's a kind of justice in that the stepsister is going to make them suffer big time when her entitlement hits reality. Comment 4. It's beyond my understanding how you can just abandon your own child for your new partner. Especially when they are such deranged a-holes. Kudos to that awesome aunt though. Comment 5. Love that some commenter thought this young woman should be tasked with fixing her dad. He knows what he is. Some people can't be unpartnered. It's like they don't know how to exist outside a romantic relationship. Comment 6. While the situation sucks for Oop, it's nice to see one of these where it doesn't turn into Oop actually being the owner of the house. Reply 6. Yeah. The ratio of people in these stories where they inherited a house at a young age, versus the number I have known in real life makes the stories seem completely unbelievable. Thanks for watching and sticking around till the end. If you enjoyed these stories, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss the next drama-filled episode. My family avoided me for 23 years, said my PTSD service dog would make guests uncomfortable at the wedding. So I made sure my look did instead. Original post. Firstly, I'm okay, physically anyway. Honestly, I have no idea who this is for, but I think I just need it out of my head. The circumstances of my birth were complicated. I broke up 2 marriages, and my family has never been shy about how they feel about me for that. Only one of my brothers has gotten drunk enough to tell me to my face that he resents me for existing. But I know it exists within all of them, at least in some way. I'm much younger than all my siblings, and there was so much that happened out of our hands that I made excuses. But my whole life, I've never quite felt part of the family. As a child, I told myself we'd make up for lost time once I got older and we could talk as equals. Now at 23, I see glimpses of the life I wished I'd have. But in the end, I'm always too much trouble to be involved. I hear everything from my father. I had to find out my niece was in a car accident from him. I had to find out my other niece had a miscarriage from him. I had to find out my oldest brother had a brain tumor haphazardly on a phone call with my father, which he didn't even know I was unaware of. I've known for a while I'm the only one trying, but for the sake of my dreams, I've given every opportunity for them to let me in, but I just can't do it anymore. I have a psychiatric service dog who aids me with CPTSD. He is the single greatest thing to happen to me. Not only did he save my life from myself, but he has made life livable. He can tell when I'm panicking, and he knows pressure therapy to help me through an attack. He stops me from hurting myself in meltdowns, sits with me until the only noise I can hear anymore is his snoring on my lap. He allows me to go grocery shopping by myself. He is my soulmate, and anyone who knows me knows how important he is to me. My dating life isn't thriving. So I took a shot in the dark and asked my niece if she minded if I brought my service dog as my +1 for her wedding at the end of this month. I have to fly across the country to go, so I will be bringing him anyway since I cannot fly alone. I figured it couldn't hurt to see if he could not have to stay in the hotel all night. I do not technically need him for the event, since I'll know every guest and I will be drinking pretty heavily to cope. But getting to spoil him with a bow tie, dancing, and steak sounded like the perfect reward for helping me on my flight. Several times I emphasized that I understood it was an odd request, and she could say no if she wanted. She was emphatic that he could come. She said even if I found a date, he could come. I was elated. For once I felt seen. I felt cared about. I felt valued. And then I got a call from my dad. No one wanted to make things awkward, but the mother of the bride was not okay with a dog being at the venue. I explained that he is a trained service animal, and will not impede the ceremony in any way, and I'd of course remove him if he did. Still, he said they didn't like it. I was so tired of hearing everyone else's words through my father. He won't be around forever and sooner or later, they will have to start talking to me. I had one request. Let the bride tell me. When I asked her, she said yes, and until she told me she changed her mind, I was under the assumption he could go. Well, I never heard back. My dad kept dropping hints when I'd call him, but I told him what my expectations were. When I RSVP'd, I put my dog as my +1, in response to let them know I wasn't backing down this time. At this point, I didn't even care if she said he couldn't go. I just wanted to hear it from her. The next morning, I woke up to an email from my father. Not even a text, a fucking email explaining that my niece didn't want to be the bad guy, but my dog was not welcome at the wedding. He said he was sorry, but he could still come with me to the hotel if I wanted. Something inside me broke, I think. I realized, this is truly a helpless case. They are never going to respect me the way I crave them to. To this day, not one of our conversations has been started by them. I always initiate, and now, the one time I request a direct contact, I get an email. Family means everything to me. Over the last few years, I've redefined what a family can be, and if right now, my family needs to be a very damaged orphan and their service animal, I'm grateful I have that much. So, I'm going to the wedding, and then I'm never going to talk to any of them again. And the sad part is, I didn't even think they're going to notice. Update. First, Thank you to everyone for the kind words and all the advice. It sincerely means so much that so many people care. I want to address all the questions about why I want to go to this wedding at all. There are plenty of practical reasons that I can name. But the truth is, I need to go for my own closure. I have a strange relationship with death and loss. My mother died when I was 5. My family split up right after. I've lost several caregivers to serious diseases, grieving their death as they lived. I've learned how to navigate my grieving process. If I don't go to this wedding, I will regret it. Not only is it my last chance to see my childhood family all together in one place, but if I don't go, I show them they can bully me. I do not want to make a spectacle of my trauma with them, but that does not mean I have to walk away with my tail between my knees. I'm not scared of them. My relationship is non-existent, but I did see my siblings, cousins, nieces, and nephews fairly regularly. When I was a kid, they intimidated and bullied me into silence, but I'm not a child anymore. I lived with these people. I can manage one night, if for no other reason than to prove they cannot control me. Thanks again for all the kind words. Happy to provide an update if someone can tell me how to post pictures from the app. Relevant comments. When told not to go to the wedding, I spent $700 on a plane ticket and $200 on a suit. Least I can do is go drink someone else's liquor and dance my worries away. Besides, it feels like goodbye. The cherry on top is they are all very conservative Christians, and I will be going in a suit with my hair dyed green and makeup done to the nines, so this will be my biggest, "fuck you, I'm here anyway," I can pull off. Truthfully, my father's memory is starting to go as he gets older. So even if I did explain my feelings, he will end up sharing anyway, so I've made my peace with the fact that it will be a one-way street because Lord knows they're not gonna ask what I'm up to. When told to call the bride directly. The last 20 years of trauma will not be solved with one phone call. This was their last chance to prove to me they want me in their lives. It's not about the dog. It's the fact that all I asked is to be treated like a person and talked to directly, and they have proven to me they don't care, so I'm leaving. I already did my job of reaching out to her and she said yes. Why is it my job to reach out and make sure she hasn't changed her mind? When told her father is an asshole, and he is the one responsible for everything. Thank you. I have felt like the only one who cannot fathom how that conversation could be had over email. It's sadly not uncommon for them to communicate through him, and I always have the receipts after the fact when they're no longer worried about the awkwardness. My brothers don't even know where I work. I'm building a career around my job. They couldn't tell you what my relationship status is, and I'd be hard-pressed to tell you if they knew my middle name, to be honest. My father is not innocent, but they are responsible for their part in our relationship. I have stopped reaching out to them directly because I barely hear back, and it's clear they don't really care what I'm saying. I could honestly write a book on the road that led me to this choice, but who's got the time in this economy? Update 2. He's a 2.5-year-old black and tan coonhound. Dog tax. Update 3. Post-wedding update. So, I went to the wedding. It went about how I expected it to go, though one can never be ready for a spontaneous conga line. Sadly, there was no secret last-minute invite, nor any secret plot of which the bride was unaware. She felt bad saying no, so she lied, and she didn't want to tell me that. And she still didn't, even at the wedding. No one really said much at all, in fact. The mother of the bride did not speak to me at all. My brother tiptoed around the subject until the end of the night. To his credit, he did apologize. For all the dog stuff, as he said goodbye. Strangely, the apology didn't make me feel much better. There was no big confrontation either, mainly because no one cared to listen to me if I tried. As the reception began, part of me wondered how much I was going to miss the people, the environment, the vibe, really. Truthfully, I surprised myself with how ready I was to leave. Goodbye was short and bittersweet. The venue was pretty and the alcohol was free, so I made the best of my night, but I got what I needed out of it, I think. Getting home tonight felt like a weight lifting off my shoulders. I know more than ever that I need to do this, and what I once saw as cutting my family in half, I can now see as clearing space for a new family, one that cares. Thank you for all your kind words, and all the support for my dog. Arrogance is bliss, March 25, 2024. You don't love me. You love an idea of me you fabricated in your mind when I was a child. I'm no longer a child. I'm far from perfect. But I'm growing. I'm glowing. And I'm grieving the reality that none of you will ever know the person I become. You call it love, but my scars disagree. You hate my hair, my style, my beliefs. You hate me. And the saddest part is, I don't even think you know you do. Relevant comments. Comment 1. I'm very sad about the I broke up 2 marriages, which implies Ope's mother and father cheated on their respective spouses with each other. The baby didn't break the marriages. The parents did that by cheating. Comment 2. The dad who actually cheated gets to be included in the family functions and is trusted to be a go-between. But the innocent offspring is treated like shit. It's such families that make me want to believe in hell. I mean, where's justice if they're not even going to be roasted by the devil? Comment 3. I know that I broke up 2 marriages hit me pretty hard. Ope has been blaming themselves for this for their entire life. And it was such a throwaway line that it's like it doesn't even occur to OP how fucked up that is. Reply 3. That's the way it goes with shitbag narcissist parents who have an affair though. I was born from an affair. Both sides hate me too. I am a living reminder of my parents' infidelity and mistakes. Maybe people think the children are innocent. But that's not how it goes if you're the product of the affair. I know people mean, well, saying it's not the kids' faults. But kids from these arrangements like OP and myself know y'all are saying it to make yourselves feel better. It doesn't do anything to make us feel better about our situations when we're the ones living with our truths. I got estranged from my family as soon as I could. I wish I was never born. The county coroner contacted me on April 8 this year to tell me my mother's corpse was found rotting away for weeks with a dog eating. It was probably the best day of my life. Reply 4. I'm an affair baby too. My half-sister, whose family was broken up by my fetushood, still refuses to speak to me. She's turning 32 this year, I'm turning 31. She still blames me, even though I never did anything to her. The even more fucked up thing is that it's not like our bio dad chose me. He abandoned me, just like he abandoned her, just like he abandoned the 2 children before her. But the only one of his abandoned children that she hates is me. Comment 4. I wish there would be an update where the family goes, why don't you call us anymore? Зрение, за вендета, но дадено както се е развивало досега, е срамно, че е по-вероятно, че те няма да забележат, да се грижат. But I'm curious as to why everyone feels the need to tiptoe around the fact they don't like OP that much if they supposedly don't care about her anyway. And why does all the communication go through the father? Looks like it's perceived as a chore to maintain social interactions with OP, and since he's her father, he has to do it. Reply 4. Sounds like dad is facilitating the relationships and they keep OP around because of him. Once he's gone, they'd probably drop OP like a bad habit, so it's probably for the best that OP drops them first. Easier that way, at least OP got to do it on their own terms. Reply 5. The sad thing is, it was the parents who cheated and had OP. He was innocent, and still is, yet everyone hates and blames OP, including his dad when his dad's the one to blame. Yet none of them ignore or punish him in any way. My parents hated and punished me my whole life, simply because I was born. They had decided no more kids, but still didn't take action to stop it. I was the youngest, and not from an affair yet, was pushed apart from my siblings, and treated like crap by everyone. So it drives me mad when others blame a child, who had no say in being born, as fully responsible for their parents' actions for their whole life. As far as I'm concerned, OP needs to cut off his dad too. He's enabled and allowed them to abuse OP, and in doing so, he the parents abused his child worse than the lot of them. He blamed and encouraged others to blame OP that he couldn't keep it in his pants or take responsibility and love and protect his child afterwards. What's worse, I'm positive even if the OP tells him not to mention the others, or what's going on in their lives. The dad will continue to, as they mean more to him, and their life and events are important to him. Even though OPs never were, and he never bothers trying to share OPs events or life with any of the others, which is why he is always surprised OP doesn't know, nor the other know anything about OP. Thanks for watching and sticking around till the end. If you enjoyed these stories, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss the next drama-filled episode. I raised my little brother for 3 years, then discovered he was my fiancé's son with my mom. So I exposed them online, and secretly moved to Spain. Original posted. Yes, the title is fucked up, I'm aware. My fiancé, 25 male, and myself, 24 female, have been together since we were 17 or 18 years old. Honestly, he was always kind, handsome, funny, and everyone used to say I was so lucky to have the whole package. I felt so lucky too. He always treated me with love and respect, so this makes everything just so shocking for me. I've always had a good relationship with my mom. It has always been her and I against the world. My dad died in an accident when I was little. We always joked that we are the real-life Rory and Lorelai from Gilmore Girls. My mom dated guys on and off and they were usually cool but nothing really past the early stages. Around 4 years ago my mom told me she was pregnant, which was a huge surprise. My mom was around 42 years old, and although she was sort of dating someone recently, didn't meet the guy but knew she went on dates. It still was a big shock. She never thought she could be pregnant at her age. She had me when she was super young, an oopsie, and I can tell she was stressed and worried. I decided to support her, since she has always supported me and tried to reassure her. She then had my brother who is now 3 years old. I have a close relationship with my brother. I have helped take care of him since he was born, and I just love the little guy. My fiancé was also always helpful with my brother. We would take him out for ice cream, playground, pool time during summer, etc. But nothing was weird. He was just my then BF spending time with my brother and I. Now to how I found out. My fiancé and I have lived together since we finished college. My fiancé was not at home since he was hanging out with friends, but I was home because I didn't feel like going out and just wanted to chill on my sofa. At some point during binge watching a series on Netflix, my laptop died and I was too lazy to go get my charger, so I just took my fiancé's iPad. I know the password but honestly never used it before. The iPad logged in, and I got a bunch of messages pinging. I guess he hasn't used it in a while too. Anyways, this got my attention, and I went to check it out and OFC I found everything. My mom's number wasn't under her name, but I recognized the number and verified it with my phone. She was telling him she felt guilty, and that I should know. He said he also felt guilty but couldn't lose me, and they fucked it up. She said that it was unfair for my brother to never not know his dad, and that if he could live having his son around, not behaving like a dad but a brother-in-law. I broke down. What the actual fuck? There weren't a lot of older messages, just some photos stored of my brother as a newborn, my mom pregnant, and more photos of my brother growing up in an album. I couldn't anymore. I cried for what seemed like ages and I waited for my boyfriend to come back home. I wish I was one of those women that can pretend and get things together before confronting the cheater, but I can't. He came back later that night, around 11:30 p.m., and I just gave him the iPad with the conversation opened and saw his face completely go pale. I asked for an explanation. When? How? Why? And he didn't want to at first, but knew he had to. Apparently a few years back while I was traveling with some friends, girls' trip, my fiancé and mom had dinner together. This isn't strange since he has been part of the family for so long. Sometimes mom and fiancé would eat together at our place, even if I was busy with sports or out. I did the same with his parents. Somehow, unclear how since he couldn't explain it well. One thing led to another, and they ended up sleeping together. They felt guilty but apparently not guilty enough, because they slept together 2 to 3 more times, using the excuse of meeting up to discuss how to tell me. Apparently when my mom got pregnant they stopped sleeping together and decided to not tell me, since my fiancé loved me and couldn't lose me, and my mom didn't want to lose her daughter. So here we are now, with 2 of the most disgusting humans. I obviously broke the engagement, told my mom to never talk to me again and move in with a friend. I feel bad for my brother since I really love him, but I can't be around him now. I just can't. I feel like it would remind me of all those times we talked about having kids. I would be his baby mama. Only baby mama. We talked about this future since we were 17 years old, so I want to puke every time I think how I was actually taking care of his child with someone else, while still having those dreams. I want to puke. Editor's note. Comments were mostly supportive, with a few telling their own stories of cutting parents off, and a couple with tales of spouses sleeping with parents. How is this even a thing? People are crazy. Update 1. First, I want to thank everyone for the nice messages and comments. I was not expecting so much support. I'm still a mess, not gonna lie. But after reading the comments I felt better. Like a therapy mini session. So again, thank you all. To the update. As I was afraid, I was indeed confronted near my office this week. I knew this was coming but thought maybe I had more time. My ex was the person to come find me. Yesterday, Wednesday, after finishing work and walking to where my car was parked, my ex was sort of lingering, waiting around. I thought about running, not gonna lie. But I guess in the moment I felt strong enough to get over it, instead of having that hanging above my head waiting to be approached again. He asked if we could talk and I said yes. But I didn't feel like having that conversation over coffee like we were old friends. It felt ridiculous. So I told him to just talk right there. We were in the streets but somehow it wasn't crowded, but also not completely lonely. Felt right. He basically said sorry 100 times, and that I deserved better. I agreed. He said he did love me, and that he still does, but he would understand why I wouldn't want anything to do with him. He said that if I did in fact consider giving him a chance that he would go to therapy, alone or together or both, and that he would work hard to win my trust back. I told him it wasn't possible. There was too much damage. This sounds calm when I type it, but in the moment things came out more with louder tone and harsher words. Anyways, he did say that he is in the OR will be, it was a bit of a blur, process of getting custody, partly from my brother, and that he in fact does want to be a dad to him. He said he does not want to be together with my mom, that it was just a stupid mistake. Sure. Because 4 to 5 times is just a random thing. He couldn't explain why he did it in the first place. I think he doesn't even know himself. I asked if he cheated with someone else before. He said no. Not sure if to believe it, but he sounded honest. I asked why he didn't come clean, and he said that after he did the deed, he always felt panicked, and it hit him that he could lose me, and he just didn't want to. I told him it was meant to be found out. That what was his plan? To have my brother around and ignore their relationship forever. He said he didn't think far enough, and that he was basically going with the idea one day at the time. I asked him if he felt that my mom seduced him. He said it was mutual, which made me want to puke again. I asked if he has had any contact with my mom since I found out. He said yes, but mostly about my brother. Didn't elaborate more, and I didn't press for more info on that. He said he told his parents the day before or the day before that, not sure, Monday, Tuesday, about everything. The parents were not happy, but they are glad to start building a relationship with my brother. Their grandkid. Honestly, all of this felt like a punch in my stomach, I don't know why. The parents wanted to contact me but he told them to wait till he approached me first, hence why he was here. I said if he started or thought about the custody before I found out, and he said no. But when I found out was like the push he needed. Great. Seems I helped him get his shit together. Ugh. And this past week he was arranging all of that mess. That's why he hasn't tried to see me before. He sounded and looked defeated. But the whole thing made me, besides sad, angry. I was mainly depressed before but now I'm furious. I feel like he is still in an okay place and he isn't paying for his actions, beyond me leaving him. He will have my brother, his parents and others and move on with his life. While I lost everything. I hate him. We parted ways not on a happy note, and I told him to never get near me again. I was done. He asked me to see my brother still, that I was important to him, and tried to guilt trip me and it worked. But I still think I can't. I don't know much about my mom, and really hope she doesn't come find me anytime soon because I'm fuming right now and won't be able to handle it. I will be contacting my family and friends and finally doing the blasting today. I think it is about time, and after my talk with him I got the extra push I needed. Editor's note. Top comment suggested moving to Australia. Can't fault that line of thinking. Update 2. Hi everyone. Again I want to say thanks for all the support on my last update. Honestly, like I said in my previous post, it really helped me a lot emotionally with all your comments, and also all the advice I got, that being about moving abroad, or what to say when I do the blast. Thank you. Update 3. A lot has happened. I did the blasting. And this is how it went down. I first posted on my family's Facebook group we share. This is from my mom's family side. I used inspiration of what you all suggested in my last post and said something around the lines of, I want to communicate to you all that my wedding with X has been permanently cancelled. since I found out that my mom, name, and my ex, name, had in the last few years a sexual relationship which resulted in the birth of my little brother, name. I had no clue of any of this, and I found out about it last week. I won't have a relationship with name, mom, and ex, name, for obvious reasons. I would appreciate your understanding, and I felt it was only fair to let you know of the situation, since I value transparency and honesty above all. I also included a screenshot of my mother's message, what I said to her once I found out, and a message she managed to write back before I blocked her. Didn't open the message till before the blasting. I didn't want to hear, read her, and be persuaded. It exploded. I had family reaching out via text and calling the whole day after the blasting. I would say most were very supportive, and I could tell they were just shocked. There were a few neutral and some suspicious that it wasn't the whole story, and maybe I misunderstood. My grandparents were in the maybe you misunderstood category, which wasn't surprising since my mom is super close to my grandparents, and like I said before, my mom was always a good mom. So no red flags. I will be moving with a cousin that is more like a sister to me. I haven't reached out to her previously because I knew once she knew everyone would. That's why I went to my friend's place. My cousin is devastated on my behalf and offered to live with her and her 2 kids until I can get my feet on the ground. I accepted and will be moving next week. I'm a bit afraid this will give my mom an easier access to me, but I can't stay at my friend's place forever. I then proceeded quickly to post a similar message for my we share most of our friends since high school and local university, friends on Instagram. I created a close friends story and tagged most of them too. This went sort of viral in our friend group. Actually, one of my friends sent me my Reddit post and asked if this was me. I confirmed. They were all so shocked and speechless. They never thought my ex would even remotely do anything like this. They said, he was crazy about you. Oh well, apparently he went overboard on the crazy part. The group of friends is divided ATM, some are completely on my side, and some are thinking it isn't the whole truth. I told everyone that reached out that if they don't believe me to ask their friend if he is asking for custody of my little brother. That kinda shut them up for now. My ex deleted his social media. Also, my ex's parents called me like I guessed they would. They were kind to me and were very sorry about everything. I got the feeling they are also overwhelmed and very disappointed. However, it was clear they will be supporting their son. They are very upset at my mother, and don't want anything to do with her, but not sure how that will work with my little brother and everything else. They tried to give me info about the custody and what is my ex up to now, but I shut that down quickly and told them I don't want any info. I want to move on. I also asked them to not reach out in the near future, that I needed distance, especially if they will be supporting my ex. He is living with his parents ATM. Also, my ex and my mother after the blast were going nuts trying to reach out to me. They tried calling my friend, who she blocked them, and reaching out from different numbers. I had to put my phone on silent and ignore everyone. However, my mother sent me a long text, from another number, and that was a weird text. She said that I was being cruel, and that she didn't think she raised me that way. She said she thought we had a better relationship than me blasting out laundry like that without talking to her first. That I didn't have the whole picture. She did mention something that confused me. She said in her long-ass text, that the reason she slept with my ex, is because he reminded him of my dad. That it was grief. That she didn't mean to use him to heal her pain, but she wasn't strong enough. I don't even know what that means. Like, did she think that my ex looks physically like my dad? Or personality? Or what? I have seen photos of my dad, and well, yay, my ex isn't super different but also not super alike. I mean, they share brown dirty blonde hair, blue eyes, white skin. But that's not so uncommon. I don't see what else. I don't know. That threw me for a loop and honestly makes me want to confront my mom just to know what the hell. From all the things she could say, I was not expecting that. I'm holding on better, I don't cry every hour or want to murder them. But I'm still sad and upset, and it just feels like it isn't my life. That it is a big joke or a bad dream, and I will wake up to my normal life. I also need to really start planning my future and start applying for jobs in other cities, or maybe check the possibilities abroad more seriously. I might ask for 2 to 3 days off work to really get my thoughts together and do some research. I'm terrified tbh. I feel frozen, but I know I need to start moving. Editor's notes. Apparently he went overboard on the crazy part is now a flare. This post has some funny comments. Commenter 1. That mom is hilarious. I thought I raised you better. I never in a million years thought you'd fuck my boyfriend. But here we are. Commenter 2. My petty ass would be sending her that. Commenter 3. Right? The irony of her blaming you for airing laundry when she did that. Commenter 4. The laundry wouldn't be dirty if you hadn't fucked my boyfriend on it. Update 4. Hi all. It seems now posting on my profile it's much easier to give quicker updates or smaller updates than a huge sub. Editor's note. Also she got kicked off of r/true off my chest for posting too many updates. So here it goes. My group of friends is divided. Some of his closest friends had been saying that I should give him another chance, that no one is perfect but he loves me, that he was always good to me and I shouldn't just turn my back on him. They even said that Mac's little brother and I could be a perfect little family, and that I could make sure that my little bro has a good stepmom, who is better than his blood relative, right? This is so bullshit. They are talking like he messed up on something minor or even medium, like he lied about getting laid off work, or like he forgot to pay our bills for a month. Like what the fuck? I have some girlfriends that are completely on my side and supporting me, which is nice. But our group friend isn't solid anymore, and everyone is taking sides. I did have a conversation with Max on the phone though. I admit I had a bit to drink that night since I was coming back from meeting some friends for dinner, and I had a few glasses of wine and a cocktail. But I remember the talk. Disclaimer. I'm paraphrasing, but here's how I remember the exchange. I asked Max if he ever thought his feelings toward my mom had been influenced by things he didn't fully understand at the time. He hesitated but said maybe. He explained how a teenage crush turned into something more, especially during times when I wasn't around. When I asked if I had ever just been the second choice, he paused. That pause said everything. He admitted he did like me, but the feelings for my mom were still there in the background. When I asked why he went through with it multiple times, he said he didn't have a real answer. He called it a stupid, impulsive mistake that spiraled, something he now deeply regrets. It was emotional, heavy, and neither of us had clear answers. Just pain, silence, and the weight of everything that's happened. Since that call, I've been trying to process all of it. Some days I feel strong. Other days, it all comes crashing back. As for my mom, she's still trying to fix things, but I'm not ready for that. My grandparents reached out, but I haven't responded. Right now, I need space. We were silent a lot and not long after we hung up. It was a short call, and honestly, emotional. I was sort of drunkish, and he seemed emotionally drained too. I feel stupid for opening up and calling him and asking those questions. I said 1,000 times I don't want to know more, but I was weak. Every time I feel like moving on I get hit again by everything. My brain can't understand yet. On my mom's front, well, not a lot has happened. She continues to try to fix it. My grandparents reached out to me but I didn't answer. I'm sure they were trying to give me support, so. Update 5. Hi everyone, so I'm finally here with an update and a good one at that. I'm moving to Spain. I got the job as an au pair near one of the biggest cities in Spain. I'm so excited. I'm flying in a few days and starting September 1st with the family. The kids are adorable too. I will be learning Spanish too, which I always wanted to do anyway, so it all feels like heaven sent. I haven't told almost anyone about it, just a few friends I trust, and of course my cousin who I live with. Also my boss. My mother has been telling people, I'm being mean to her when she wants to fix everything. She made a mistake and is trying to fix it, but I'm being difficult. She is just human, not surprising. I'm now really coming to terms on how self-centered she is and has always been. I'm sad I lost the mom I thought I had. Feels like if she died. My new therapist, yes, I got one last week, yay, said I'm grieving. Max has left me a bit alone since the last call we had. I heard he is focusing on my little brother and just staying under the radar. I've had some short phone calls with my little brother which has been bittersweet, but he is doing okay. He of course doesn't know what's really happening, but he is happy with having a new dad. It doesn't hurt as much as it did before, but still hurts. Thank you all for all the support. Commenter. For the record, Spanish men are hot. Ope. Heard they are also ladies' men, but going with an open mind and also focusing on myself for now. I'm 100% not ready for a relationship or even a hookup, but eventually, let's see. Editor's notes, marking as concluded since she's moving. And this seems somewhat final. Hopefully we'll get new adventures that have nothing to do with the cluster bleep that she's leaving behind. Thanks for watching and diving into this wild family drama with me. If you love Reddit family drama, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the next one.